Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into a new manhwa, which promises an epic journey with high-stakes action, powerful abilities, and a protagonist who's seen it all. If you're a fan of power fantasy and reincarnation themes, you're in for a treat. So, grab your snacks and let's get started. The world of our protagonist is known as Tianwu. In this vast Tianwu continent, where the strong rule and the weak perish, the path to power is paved with blood and determination. Under a dark and turbulent sky, the heavens rumble with thunder. Streaks of lightning illuminate a desolate mountain, radiating an ominous golden glow. At the mountain's base, a lone figure stands, a shadow against an overwhelming force. The air is heavy with ancient energy as intricate golden symbols light up the mountain's surface. These runes seem alive, pulsing with power that transcends time and space. Suddenly, a booming voice echoes from the void. Li Yun Xiao. A chalk flies towards a person, giving us the first look of our protagonist. Yun Xiao opens his eyes, his mind flooded with unfamiliar memories. He looks around, dazed, and begins to process the situation. These memories are not his, or are they? Information begin to flood his mind. This is the year of 1033 of the Sky Martial Calendar. 15 years have passed since he died on the Tiandang Mountain. As his thoughts settle, Yun Xiao begins to understand. He has been reborn with the memories of his previous life. In his previous life, he was Gu Feiyang, the peerless martial sovereign who had once dominated the Tianwu continent. One of the 10 titled martial sovereign. Yun Xiao looks out at the statue beyond his window, thinking, "Is that a statue of me?" Suddenly a shout echoes. "Li Yun Xiao, you are really a gutsy one. Answer the question. How many types of methods to refine an ordinary Shen weapon are there?" says the teacher. Yun Xiao looks at the teacher's body and thinks, "Nice body, good-looking with long hairs. If she wears a set of armor, then add the frost of grief that would make her another red lotus empress in the flesh." Frost of grief is the weapon she is holding in her hand or maybe legs. What is Yun Xiao even imagining? He is a true man of culture. Moving on, the teacher says, "Hurry up and answer the question. How many types of ordinary refining methods are there?" Yun Xiao thinks, what kind of childish question to be asked from a 9th rank refiner, the pinnacle of martial world. Yun Xiao ignoringly replied that there are 48 types of methods. The teacher was left in shock, and the whole class erupted into laughter. A boy stood up and, pointing towards the textbook, says, "Trash, have you read the book? There are clearly only 36 types in Master Yongdi's textbook." Yun Xiao nonchalantly replied, "Yongdi. That brat, did he dare to forget the 12 methods that Gu Feiyang had devised?" The teacher stood even more shocked, and the class again burst into laughter, saying, "How could Master Yongdi make such a mistake? He was a student of martial sovereign Gu Feiyang." Suddenly, with a palm strike to the table, the teacher ordered the class to be silent. She said that martial sovereign Gu Feiyang was not only the 3rd-ranked warrior on the Tianwu continent, he was a top-notch 9th realm refiner. And he also designed 12 other refining methods that Master Yongdi did not include in the textbook because they are impossible for ordinary people to understand. This fact left the whole class in shock. The teacher thought that Yun Xiao is a trash in martial arts because his meridians are not open. But if trained to be a refiner, he will be much more valuable than a martial warrior. Thinking this, she tried to test him further and asked, "Tell me, why do you need to add sky crystal sand during refining? If you can answer this, you won't need to attend my class anymore." That question was like asking why 1 + 1 is 2. But Yun Xiao, unfazed with the problem, answered, "The crystal sand is not required. However, this material is required because the average refiner is not able to precisely fuse the other materials with it." Then let me ask you, when red copper fuses with shining gold, how do you get rid of the effects of the sky crystal sand? Says the teacher. "Just treat the sky crystal sand as an impurity, then use what you have to get rid of it." Yun Xiao replies, This leaves the teacher in shock. No wonder I kept failing, she said to herself. Actually, this was a problem that even the teacher was unable to solve for a long time. Getting an answer to a problem which has been troubling her for a long time, she leaves the classroom in a hurry, leaving the students to study on their own. This scene left the other students to question whether the teacher was asking a question or asking for advice on her problem. Yunxiao also leaves the classroom enjoying the fact that he won't need to attend the class anymore. The students started to question, is Yunxiao a prodigy in alchemy? Jealous of this, a student said the talent requirement for a refiner is even greater than that of a martial artist. Can a trash that can't open even a single meridian really walk the path of an alchemist? Joining in the other students also started to trash-talk Yunxiao, laughing at him. While Yunxiao by now was far away from these idiots, Yunxiao left the academy grounds, heading into a bustling street thinking, so this is the capital of the Tianshui nation? What a coincidence that my idiot of a disciple Yongdi is the best refiner in this country. Probably this statue was made by Yongdi. At least he knows how to show respect. Sadly, my body is too weak. Not even a single meridian is opened. This body is truly trash among the trash. Anyhow, in my past life, I was ranked 3rd in the martial world. All I need to do is find a way to fix this body. If all goes well, it will only take a few years for me to regain all my strength. Well, let's find Yongdi first, and after that I can quickly recover my strength by myself. Roaming the streets, Yunxiao finally reaches his destination, the Alchemy Tower of Tianshui Nation. With the determination to become even stronger through the experience of his previous life, Yunxiao, approaching the Alchemy Tower, sets his heart to a single goal. In this life, I will reach the pinnacle of this world. With his goal in mind, Yunxiao enters the Alchemy Tower. Lu Yao, the receptionist, greeted Yunxiao warmly as he entered. She was responsible for assisting visitors to the guild. Do you need any help, sir? She asked politely. I'm looking for Yongdi, Yunxiao replied. Is he still here? Lu Yao's expression changed as she asked in shock, do you mean the previous guild master Yongdi? Yunxiao, confused, furrowed his brow. The previous guild master? Does that mean he's no longer here? Lu Yao nodded. Master Yongdi was the guild master 20 years ago. Yunxiao's mind began to race. This is troublesome. I originally wanted him to brew me some pills to help me break through. Now, I'll have to unclog the hidden meridians in my body myself. He thought back to his past. The martial world once knew me, Gu Feiyang, as a prodigy in both martial arts and alchemy. I was a 9th-ranked legendary alchemist and one of the 7 elders of the Alchemist Guild Supreme Branch. Now, I'm nothing but trash. My meridians are clogged, and this body is already 15 years old. If I don't open them soon, it will be even harder to regain my strength in the future. Finally, Yunxiao sighed and said to Lu Yao, how about this? I'll write a recipe. See if you can help me gather the materials. Lu Yao, eager to assist, handed Yunxiao a pen and paper. He began to write the recipe, but before he could finish, a voice called out from the distance. Lu Yao, who are you talking to? Hurry up. Master Liang is looking for you. It was Jarong, a first-tier alchemist at the guild. As a first-tier alchemist, Jarong was at the very beginning of his career, with level 9 being the highest rank. Lu Yao took the recipe from Yunxiao, agreeing to go see Master Liang after helping him. But before she could leave, Jarong snatched the recipe from her hand, looked at it, and immediately crushed the paper. What kind of lousy recipe is this? He sneered, tossing the crumpled paper aside. Yunxiao's anger flared. Any document I write is a priceless treasure. How dare this idiot throw it away like a piece of waste paper? Jarong ordered Lu Yao to go to Master Liang immediately. Out of fear of Jarong, she bowed and accepted the command. Leaving to find Master Liang, Yun Xiao, still furious, spoke up. "You're Jarong, right? Got promoted this week?" Jarong, with a smug grin, replied, "As everyone knows, I was promoted 5 days ago. Since you know who I am, you should refer to me as Master." Yun Xiao raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure you were promoted to an alchemist? Your fingers have turned a dark gray and started to peel. Probably from exposure to a blood flame stone that you used to enhance your alchemical fusion abilities before the exam. The smell of blood orchids on your body is to counteract the side effects of the stone." Jarong was taken aback, disbelief evident on his face. "How does he know?" "That's nonsense," Jarong muttered, trying to walk away, but Yun Xiao called out, "Actually, the blood flame stone has a powerful side effect. I'm sure the acupoints at your forehead, the back of your neck, and your back are causing discomfort around noon. What a waste of a talented alchemist. If you want to preserve your life, you'll need to destroy your dantian." Jarong's face drained of color as he began to shiver in fear. "Stop scaring me," he stammered. Yun Xiao dismissed him with a wave. "Forget it then. I was about to teach you the cure. But if you're too scared..." Jarong quickly grabbed Yun Xiao's arm, pleading, "Tell me the cure." However, seeing Yun Xiao's furious expression, he immediately backed off, realizing his position. He bowed low before Yun Xiao, begging for the cure. The onlookers were stunned by the sight, but Yun Xiao remained unfazed. "Hey, where's my list of materials?" Yun Xiao asked nonchalantly. Jarong, eager to avoid further conflict, hurried to pick up the discarded paper and handed it to Yun Xiao. Without a second thought, Yun Xiao crushed the paper, throwing it back at Jarong. "I want 10 batches of every item on this list. Bring everything to the academy once you've gathered it." With that, Yun Xiao turned and walked away, leaving Jarong standing there, stunned and speechless. After Yun Xiao left, Jarong fumed in anger. "This kid is neither a martial artist nor an alchemist. Yet why do I feel this shiver of fear when I'm near him?" He clenched his fists, vowing, "I'll let him run wild for a few more days. Once I get the solution, I'll tear him to pieces." Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Lu Yao, who was speaking with Master Liang, a second-tier alchemist. He looked at her with concern. "You said a young man asked you to find spirit crane roots and white phoenix dragon lotus?" Lu Yao nodded in affirmation. Master Liang furrowed his brow. "What else was on the list?" Lu Yao thought for a moment and then replied, "Ink feather ghost flower, nether fruit, vacuum nectar, Shiva flower, and fairy bud." Master Liang's eyes widened in shock. Did the boy leave a name, contact information, or anything? Lu Yao shook her head. "No, he didn't. Is something wrong, Master Liang?" Master Liang's expression darkened. "There are several herbs on this list that even I haven't heard of, but when combined, they give me the impression that this will create a very powerful potion. If the boy comes back, make sure to let me know immediately." The scene shifted again to Yun Xiao. He was walking back to the academy deep in thought. Those materials are relatively difficult for Jarong to find. I can't trust him completely. I need to find another way. He paused, then thought, let's see what my storage ring has. Yun Xiao pulled out a ring from his pocket and slid it onto his finger. This ring had a large inner space to store things. As he searched through it, he found mostly shady objects. Finally, he came across an old sword. This black, iron-heavy sword is the only thing of any use. He examined it. It weighs 32 caddies and 7 tails. So heavy, I really miss my Star Slayer sword. I wonder where it is now. He threw the sword over his shoulder with a sigh. Before I open the 7 chakras, I'll use this. Once I've condensed my primordial chi, I'll craft myself a proper weapon. As he reached the gate of the academy, a hand lunged toward him, attempting to grab his sword. Yun Xiao swiftly dodged the attack. He turned to see 2 of his classmates, Snakeface and Monkey Man. His expression darkened with anger. Just then, 2 of his other friends, Han and Chun, appeared to protect him. They shouted, demanding to know what Snakeface and Monkey Man were doing. But Snakeface, ignoring their words, moved forward to attack. Han stepped up to face him head-on. The two exchanged powerful blows, forcing each other to take a step back. Chun, supporting Han, asked, "When did you open 4 of your chakras?" Bai dismissively replied, "It's just 4. Suddenly, Monkey Man lunged at Yun Xiao. With 5 of his chakras open, he launched a punch. Han countered, but Monkey Man's overwhelming strength shattered Han's bones, sending him flying back. Chun rushed to support him. Monkey Man sneered, his face twisted in a killing expression. This is the gap between someone who has opened 5 chakras and someone with just 4. At that moment, a girl appeared, standing in front of Han. "I'd like to see which of you is going to bully Yun Xiao," she said confidently. It was Ru Xue, the princess of Tianshui Kingdom and one of Yun Xiao's classmates. Upon seeing her, Snakeface and Monkey Man hesitated and then backed off, turning to leave. But before they could slip away, Yun Xiao's voice rang out. "You think you can leave after hitting my friends?" Snakeface, now seething with anger, shot back, "Do you have a problem? You piece of—" Yun Xiao, unfazed, replied calmly, "I don't have a problem. But I'd like to see the gap between someone who has 5 chakras open and someone who has none. Let's see how big that gap really is." The princess, concerned for Yun Xiao's safety, tried to intervene, but Snakeface smirked and said, "Why don't we try the 4 chakras first?" He rushed to attack Yun Xiao. His friend shouted his name in concern, and the princess closed her eyes, bracing for the worst. Then a loud bam echoed across the yard. Everyone froze, their jaws dropping as they looked at the scene. Snakeface was writhing in pain on the ground, clutching himself in agony from a single attack. Yun Xiao had delivered a precise strike to Snakeface's most vulnerable spot, making him roll in pain. Monkey Man, seeing his friend writhing in pain, fumed with anger. With a furious roar, he unleashed the power of his 5 open chakras and lunged at Yun Xiao, swinging a barrage of punches. Han and Chen shouted warnings, but Yun Xiao remained composed. With an almost casual motion, he raised his heavy black iron sword in front of him. The impact was immediate and brutal. Monkeyman's fist slammed into the sharp edge of the blade, splitting his skin and drawing a gush of blood. He cried out in agony, clutching his mangled hand. Before he could recover, Yun Xiao delivered a swift, devastating kick to his groin. The sheer force of the attack caused Monkey Man to collapse next to Snakeface, unconscious from the pain. The onlookers were stunned into silence. What they had just witnessed defied their understanding of combat. Yun Xiao, still calm, dragged his sword across the ground as he approached the fallen Monkey Man. His cold voice echoed through the courtyard. "Attacking my friends comes with grave consequences." Monkey Man, regaining consciousness and realizing the severity of the situation, began to beg for mercy. But Yun Xiao gave him no chance to plead further. With a single kick, he sent both Monkey Man and Snakeface hurtling into a nearby wall. The force of their collision cracked the wall, and Monkey Man, now trembling, had even wet himself in fear. Chun, still in shock, asked Yun Xiao hesitantly, "Have you unclogged your meridians? Have you opened your chakras?" Yun Xiao shook his head, denying it. If only it were that easy. The princess stepped forward, concern etched on her face. "Yun Xiao, both the families of Snakeface and Monkey Man have long been at odds with your Li family. I'm afraid they'll use this incident against you." Yun Xiao responded with an amused smile. He plunged the sword into the ground between Monkeyman's legs and spoke in a chilling tone. "If they dare to say anything about this, I'll destroy their family jewels, one at a time." The audacity of his words left everyone speechless. With that, Yun Xiao turned and walked toward his dorm. The princess, embarrassed by his remark, muttered, "How vulgar." She then turned to Han and Chun, concern still evident in her voice. Outsiders wouldn't dare to attack someone within the academy. But if other students were to act, the academy might turn a blind eye. Han and Chen exchanged worried glances. Are you saying Lon Fay might make a move? Han asked. The princess nodded solemnly. Yes, Lon Fay has already opened 7 chakras and is close to breaking through to martial warrior status. If he decides to target Yun Xiao, it will be a dangerous situation. The trio fell silent, their worry growing. The scene shifted to Yun Xiao, who had returned to his dorm room. Sitting cross-legged, he prepared himself to practice the tyrant body tempering technique. His mind was calm, focused solely on the steps needed to rebuild his strength. Despite the challenges ahead, there was a quiet determination in his eyes, reminder of the prodigy he once was and the master he was destined to become again. The Qianwu continent once held a grand martial conference to rank the 10 strongest martial artists, an event that cemented their legacy as the pinnacle of martial prowess. These individuals were given the honorific titled martial sovereigns. Among them, the strongest bore the title Tyrant Martial Sovereign, a man named A.O. Chongkong. His signature technique, the Tyrant Body Tempering Technique, was renowned throughout the martial world. It was said to be a refining method that could conquer everything beneath the heavens. By sheer chance, Gu Feiyang, Yun Xiao's previous self, had acquired this legendary cultivation technique. However, he had died before he could practice it. Now, in this new life, Yun Xiao had decided to give it another shot. Sitting in an uncomfortable position, Yun Xiao attempted to practice the technique. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead as his body trembled from the strain. His muscles burned, and his bones creaked under the pressure. Breathing heavily, he muttered to himself, I gained this cultivation method in my previous life, but I never had the chance to practice it. This is my perfect opportunity to start. Moments later, his body gave out, and he collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth as he struggled to push himself upright. Why is this technique so difficult? I feel like my body is being split apart, he thought, pain etched across his face. No wonder A.O. Chongkong was that strong. Just starting this technique is already excruciating. But even if I can't open my chakras, cultivating this alone will eventually elevate me to the same level as the martial sovereigns. With renewed determination, Yun Xiao pushed himself off the ground. He clenched his fists, wiping the blood from his mouth. At the very least, I was ranked 3rd among the 10 martial sovereigns in my past life, he muttered, fire igniting in his eyes. I have the talent, courage, and determination to surpass even A.O. Chongkong. He resumed his practice, but the technique's intensity surged, forcing him to roll backward and crash into the wall. The impact sent more blood spilling from his lips. Cradling his head in one hand, he gritted his teeth and growled, if that tyrant bastard could do it, I'll surpass him. With unyielding resolve, he began to practice again, despite his body screaming in protest. The next morning, Yun Xiao, still aching but resolute, made his way to the gravity training hall, intent on mastering the first stage of the technique. Entering the hall, he approached the teleportation array, designed to transport students into chambers with varying levels of gravity. He placed a spirit stone into the array, and with a flash of light and a soft whoosh, he was teleported into the 10-fold gravity training zone. The moment he arrived, a crushing pressure fell upon him, making it hard to breathe. Yun Xiao clenched his jaw as he adjusted to the oppressive weight. A mere 10-fold gravity put such a heavy burden on my body, he thought. Good thing I was mentally prepared for this. Looking around, he noticed a large group of students waiting in the common area for a training chamber to become available. Yun Xiao activated his divine sense, quickly scanning the chambers. He identified that room 13 would soon be vacant and immediately headed in that direction. Just as he reached the door, it swung open and a student exited. The onlookers stared in disbelief, whispering among themselves, "What incredible luck," one murmured. He got a room the moment he arrived. Yun Xiao paid no attention to the chatter and moved to enter the chamber. However, before he could step inside, a hand blocked his path. A tall figure stood before him, smirking. "I'm a martial apprentice with 7 chakras open," the young man declared arrogantly. "Little brother, you should let me have this room." Yun Xiao's expression turned cold and sharp, his voice carrying an undeniable authority. "Piss off," he said flatly. The martial apprentice's face darkened with anger. "A trash like you with no chakras open dares talk to me like this? Today, I'll teach you the rules a newbie like you should follow." He dropped into a fighting stance, his aura flaring in challenge. Yun Xiao's eyes narrowed, and an eerie calm settled over him. The students watching held their breath, waiting to see how this clash would unfold. And Xiao ignored the challenger's arrogant words and calmly proceeded to walk into the chamber. His indifference only fueled the other man's anger further. With a burst of energy, the martial apprentice leapt into the air, intending to attack Yun Xiao from above with his full strength. However, Yun Xiao, ever composed, turned swiftly. In an instant, a faint but powerful dragon-like aura surged behind him. The opponent froze momentarily, startled by the unexpected pressure. Yun Xiao smirked, his movements fluid and deliberate as he grabbed the attacker's arm midair and struck him with a shoulder slam. The force sent the challenger stumbling backward, his expression contorted in anger as he struggled to regain balance. Before the situation could escalate further, a calm voice rang out, breaking the tension. "Senior Yu," the voice addressed, drawing everyone's attention. The speaker was revealed to be a girl, Luolan. Her sudden appearance caused a ripple among the onlookers. Senior Yu hesitated, his bravado fading slightly. "Luolan, give me 5 more minutes," he said, his voice faltering. "I'll get this room for you." Luolan shook her head and replied firmly, "Just leave it." He got the room first. Yun Xiao, who had remained silent, turned his gaze toward Luolan. His expression flickered briefly with recognition. A memory surged to the forefront of his mind. One he had buried deep. It was of the time he had once proposed to Luolan. In the memory, Luolan had coldly rejected him, walking away without hesitation. "My husband must be a strong martial artist," she had said, her tone unwavering. "Even if you come from a renowned background, you are still trash in the martial arts world. If you can defeat me one day, I might consider it." The scene shifted back to the present, where Luolan, her tone laced with disdain, remarked, "I didn't think you'd start training a technique when you can't even strengthen yourself. But you will never beat me. The gap between us will only grow wider." Yun Xiao, unfazed by her words, turned his back on her. His voice was calm and dismissive as he stepped into the chamber. "If there's nothing else, I'm going to train." The door closed behind him with a loud thud, leaving Luolan and the onlookers outside. Luolan sighed and glanced at Senior Yu. "If you had practiced your technique properly, you wouldn't have lost to Yun Xiao," she said pointedly before turning to leave. Her words sparked a wave of quiet laughter among the bystanders, further humiliating Senior Yu, whose face flushed red with anger. Inside the chamber, Yun Xiao surveyed his surroundings. The room was bare except for 2 training statues forged from black iron. Both statues were covered in scratches and dents, evidence of countless students using them over the years. Yun Xiao ran his hand across the surface of one statue and muttered to himself, "These statues must be centuries old." Shrugging off his coat, he placed it neatly to the side. His expression grew serious as he thought to himself, "It'll take me at least 10 years to return to the 9th realm. I can't waste any time." I need to push forward immediately. He positioned himself in front of one of the statues, ready to test his current strength. Gathering his focus, Yun Xiao performed the first movement of the Tyrant Body Tempering technique, channeling all his energy into a single, decisive punch aimed at the iron figure. The impact echoed through the chamber, marking the start of his rigorous training. The scene shifts, showing Yun Xiao sitting within the tenfold gravity training chamber. His body was bruised, his clothes tattered, and sweat drenched his form. Yet, his eyes gleamed with determination. He muttered to himself, under tenfold gravity, the practice efficiency of the first style of the Tyrant Body Tempering technique has truly multiplied. Struggling to his feet, Yun Xiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and continued, in 3 days, I'll be able to match the physical strength of a martial apprentice. When that happens, I'll have at least a 60% chance to successfully unclog my meridians. Without hesitation, he resumed his rigorous practice. 3 days later, the door to the training chamber creaked open. Yun Xiao staggered out, his body covered in blood, his breathing labored, and his clothing shredded to near rags. The bystanders outside were stunned into silence as they beheld his battered yet determined figure. One of them, unable to contain his curiosity, peeked into the chamber Yun Xiao had just vacated. His shocked voice broke the tense atmosphere. The statues, they're shattered. This exclamation drew the attention of the other students. When they rushed to look inside, their jaws dropped. The ancient black iron statues, which had stood unbroken for centuries, were reduced to piles of rubble. Yun Xiao's practice had utterly destroyed them. The scene shifted to show Yun Xiao after he had cleaned himself up. His body, transformed by the Tyrant Body Tempering technique, now radiated a subtle but palpable strength. Admiring his progress, Yun Xiao thought to himself, this technique is indeed the #1 body tempering method in the world. As long as I can obtain a few low-level pills, my cultivation speed will increase dramatically. Sitting down in a meditative posture, Yun Xiao began to regulate his breathing and channel his energy. Suddenly, he sensed movement behind him. Without turning his head, he shot out a hand and caught an incoming fist. Twisting the arm in a fluid motion, Yun Xiao flipped the attacker over, slamming them face-first into the ground. The groaning figure turned out to be Han, one of Yun Xiao's friends. Struggling to his feet while clutching his wrist, Han grimaced, "It's not broken, is it?" Yun Xiao smirked and replied casually, "You can't blame me for reacting. You're the one who snuck up on me?" Dusting himself off, Han stepped closer to Yun Xiao, his expression turning serious. "Yun Xiao, you might be in trouble," he warned. "Lon Fay has disappeared over the past few days. I heard he's cultivating in seclusion to break into the first origin realm." Yun Xiao's brow furrowed slightly at the name, but his tone remained calm. "Lon Fay, the boss of Snakeface and Monkey Man?" Han nodded emphatically, his face full of concern. "Yes, and he might be coming for revenge. Do you understand what it means to reach the origin realm? It means he's condensed his yang qi and broken into the ranks of a true martial warrior. There's a massive gap between us apprentices and someone at his level." Yun Xiao dismissed Han's concerns with a nonchalant wave. His expression grew resolute. "That's not important right now. I need you to do something for me." Han raised an eyebrow, surprised by Yun Xiao's calm demeanor. What could be more important than preparing for Lon Fay? Yun Xiao's tone turned lighthearted, but his eyes gleamed mischievously. "Han, lend me all your money." Reluctantly, Han handed over a pouch of coins. "You're going to bleed me dry, Yun Xiao," he complained half-heartedly as he turned to leave. Before he could take more than a step, a loud bang echoed through the room. The door was kicked open with such force that it sent Han flying across the room. He landed near Yun Xiao's feet unconscious. A clear imprint of a boot was visible on his chest. Moments later, another figure was sent tumbling into the room. Chen crashed to the ground beside Han, equally unconscious, with blood trickling from his mouth and a tooth lying nearby. Stepping into the room was Lon Fay, his aura surging with an oppressive intensity. His eyes burned with rage as he strode toward Yunxiao. "You damn trash," he bellowed. "How dare you touch my men? Today, I'll cripple you completely." Lon Fay's words hung in the air like a death sentence, and his power surged around him, a vivid display of his newly condensed yang qi. Yunxiao, however, remained calm, his expression unyielding as he prepared to face the enraged martial warrior. Yunxiao bent down to check on Han and Chun, carefully assessing their injuries. After confirming that neither of them was in a life-threatening condition, he rose to his feet, his expression cold and unyielding. Turning his gaze toward Lon Fay, he finally broke his silence. "Do you really think you're special, just because you can glow a little?" Yunxiao's voice carried a mocking tone as he stepped forward, his movements deliberate and firm. "You think you can cripple me? It's been a long time since I've heard such an arrogant statement." Lon Fay felt an inexplicable sense of unease as Yunxiao approached. The pressure radiating from Yunxiao was palpable, and for the first time, Lon Fay hesitated. Out of fear, he quickly drew his sword and lunged forward, choosing to strike first. Yunxiao, unfazed, drew his own sword in response. The two swords clashed with a deafening sound, sending a shower of sparks flying through the air. The force of the impact was immense, pushing Yunxiao back and leaving a deep cut on his blade, a testament to the strength behind Lon Fay's strike. Lon Fay and the bystanders were shocked. How was it possible for Yunxiao, someone without even a single chakra opened, to withstand such a powerful blow? Yunxiao, however, remained calm. He let out a low laugh, his confidence unwavering. Pointing his sword at Lon Fay, he taunted, "Come, let me give you some pointers." This remark made Lon Fay snap. Furious, he charged at Yunxiao again, putting all his strength into his attack. But Yunxiao's movements were precise and swift. With a single, well-timed maneuver, he disarmed Lon Fay, sending his sword flying across the room. Lon Fay stood frozen, his mind struggling to comprehend what had just happened. Before Lon Fay could recover, Yunxiao delivered a powerful kick to his face, sending him crashing into the wall. Blood dripped from Lon Fay's nose as he slumped to the ground in a daze. Suddenly, the sound of metal striking the ground echoed. Yunxiao had driven his sword into the floor, right between Lon Fay's legs. Lon Fay's face turned pale as the reality of the situation sank in. Panic replaced his anger, and his voice trembled with a mix of fear and desperation. "You dare touch me," he spat out, trying to sound threatening despite his situation. Yunxiao, unmoved by the empty threat, pressed the tip of his sword slightly closer to Lon Fay's groin. The gesture was enough to shatter whatever composure Lon Fay had left. His attitude shifted in an instant. "Please, spare me. I was wrong," he begged, his voice cracking. The scene left the onlookers stunned. Even Lon Fay's subordinates, who had been silently watching, instinctively shielded their groins as if they, too, could feel the pain. Yunxiao remained silent for a moment, his cold gaze locked on Lon Fay. Then, with a sly grin on his face, the air around him heavy with dominance. "If you want to keep your little bird intact, hand over some money," Yunxiao said, his voice dripping with mockery. Lon Fay, trembling with fear, quickly removed his spatial ring and handed it to Yunxiao without hesitation. Yunxiao turned his gaze toward Lon Fay's underlings, his sword casually pointing in their direction. "You lot," he said, "if you want to walk out of here in one piece, you'd better follow his example." The underlings, terrified, scrambled to comply. In no time, a pile of valuable items formed at Yunxiao's feet, rings, pendants, and other treasures. Yunxiao examined the haul, his eyes catching on a jade pendant hanging around Lon Fay's waist. With a single fluid motion of his sword, he severed the pendant's string and caught it in his hand. "This pendant is quite nice," Yunxiao said, inspecting it. "I'll be taking it." Lon Fay's eyes widened in panic as he fell to his knees. "No, please, you can take anything else, but not that pendant. It's been passed down in my family for generations. Only the core members of the Lon family are allowed to wear it. If I lose it, my family will skin me alive." Yunxiao, raised an eyebrow, his sword lazily pointing at one of Lon Fay's underlings. "I could return it," he said, his tone cold and calculating. "But in exchange, I'll make your subordinates end up like those two." He gestured towards Monkey Man and Snakeface. Lon Fay's underlings, frozen in fear, looked toward their leader with pleading eyes. Lon Fay clenched his fists, torn between his loyalty to his family and the lives of his men. After a long moment, he gritted his teeth and spoke. "This jade pendant is extremely important to me," he said, his voice shaking. "But when compared to my brothers, it's nothing." The declaration left his underlings visibly moved, their eyes filled with gratitude and emotion. Lon Fay, regaining his composure, gave a sharp command. "Let's go." Without sparing another glance at Yun Shao, he turned and led his group away, his dignity in tatters. Yun Shao watched them leave, his eyes narrowing as he examined the pendant in his hand. A faint smile tugged at his lips. "It really is the five-colored divine stone," he muttered. Slipping the pendant into his pocket, he spoke aloud, his voice cutting through the silence. "You've been watching long enough. It's about time you showed yourself." A shadow suddenly leaped from the roof, landing gracefully behind Yun Shao. The figure was Jarong, his expression a mix of annoyance and disbelief. He had witnessed everything that had just transpired, but he couldn't wrap his mind around it. "I saw it all," Jarong thought to himself, "but I still can't figure out how Yun Shao defeated Lon Fay. I came here planning to restrain him and force him to tell me the cure. But now, I don't even have the confidence to fight him, even with my cultivation at mid-tier warrior level." Yun Shao turned to face Jarong, his eyes sharp. He asked coldly, "Did you gather everything I asked for?" Jarong, suppressing his irritation, handed Yun Shao a list. "I've only managed to gather 6 batches, he said defensively. "Some of the herbs you want are nearly impossible to find." 6 batches, Yun Shao repeated, his tone neutral. "Fine, hand them over. But before anything else, heal them first." He nodded toward Han and Chun, who still lay unconscious nearby. Jarong's face twisted in anger. "Who do you think you are? Do you think you can order me around like this?" Yun Shao didn't flinch. "If you don't like it, you can leave," he replied curtly. His tone made it clear that he wouldn't entertain any further complaints. Jarong's frustration boiled under the surface. "I'm a rank 1 alchemist with a prestigious reputation," he thought bitterly. How did it come to this? Taking orders from a mere kid? But he knew he had no choice. Reluctantly, he fed Han and Chun healing pills, ensuring they were stabilized. "I'm done," Jarong said, straightening up. His eyes locked on Yun Shao with a mix of anger and desperation. "Now, it's about time you told me the cure." Yun Shao wrote something down on a piece of paper, folded it neatly, and casually tossed it toward Jarong. The force behind the throw made the paper whistle through the air, and Jarong caught it with both hands, his palms stinging slightly from the impact. His eyes narrowed in shock as he thought, "This brat, just how strong is he?" Unfolding the paper, Jarong scanned its contents, his expression gradually shifting from suspicion to astonishment. His thoughts raced as he realized the value of what he held. "This prescription, it's incredible." Yun Shao wasn't lying. "It's completely reliable." With reverence, Jarong carefully slipped the prescription into his pocket and turned to leave. "Now that I've received what I was promised, we're even," he said flatly. Yun Xiao's voice, calm but cutting, stopped Jarong in his tracks. "This prescription will remove the toxins of both the blood flame stone and the blood orchids from your body without causing any side effects. However, when the toxins were corroding your body, didn't you notice your soul power weakening every time you practiced alchemy? Didn't it feel as though your soul power was deteriorating?" Jarong's heart sank as he listened. Yun Xiao's words struck a nerve, and panic flickered across his face. Yun Xiao continued, his tone clinical yet unyielding. "The deterioration of your soul power makes cultivation hundreds of times harder. If left unchecked, there's little hope for you to recover your rank 1 alchemist status, let alone advance to rank 2. Jarong turned sharply, flustered. "What are you saying? What do you mean by this?" he demanded. Yun Xiao met his gaze with a cold, confident expression. I know a way to restore your soul power and make you a true rank 1 alchemist within 5 days. Jarong blinked, stunned. 5 days? You must be joking. Even if my soul power hadn't deteriorated, breaking through to rank 1 in such a short time is impossible. Yunxiao's eyes narrowed. Who do you think you are? Do you think I would waste my time lying to you? Jarong hesitated, swallowing his indignation. What do you want in return for your help? He asked cautiously. Yunxiao smirked, his tone bold and unyielding. Be my servant. Jarong's face flushed with anger. A servant? You're just a kid, and you expect me, a rank 1 alchemist, to be your servant? Absolutely not. Yunxiao didn't flinch. Do you honestly believe you're qualified to be my servant? His voice was laced with disdain. You'll serve me for 5 days. Once the 5 days are up, you'll scram. Jarong opened his mouth to protest, but before he could speak, Yunxiao unleashed his soul pressure. The invisible force weighed down on Jarong, driving him to his knees. Cold sweat dripped down his face as his body trembled under the immense pressure. Yunxiao's gaze was icy and domineering. I'll give you 3 breaths to decide. Do you accept my offer or not? Jarong's mind raced. This soul pressure, it far surpasses mine. If I accept, there's a chance I could rise to the top. If I don't, I might regret it for the rest of my life. Gritting his teeth, he muttered, I accept. The pressure vanished instantly. Yunxiao nodded approvingly. Not bad. You were decisive. You'll come to realize how lucky you are to have made the right choice. He tossed another piece of paper toward Jarong, who caught it with shaky hands. Follow the instructions on that paper. If you can't advance to rank 1 within 5 days, it means you lack the aptitude and aren't qualified to be my servant. Jarong unfolded the paper, his eyes widening in disbelief. Soul cultivation arts, he whispered, his voice trembling. This is really a soul cultivation technique. Yunxiao glanced at him indifferently. It's just a low-level soul cultivation technique, but it's enough for you to fully recover and break through within 5 days. If you behave well, I won't be stingy with rewards in the future. Turning away, Yunxiao added nonchalantly, You may leave. I'll find you at the Alchemist Association. If I need anything. Jarong stood frozen for a moment before bowing deeply out of respect. Without another word, he left the academy, his mind racing. The most important aspect of an alchemist is their soul power, he thought, his footsteps quickening. Ordinary alchemists can only increase it at an excruciatingly slow pace through constant crafting. But this soul cultivation technique, it directly refines soul power. Now, I, Jarong, have such a precious technique in my possession. He clenched the paper tightly in his hands, his thoughts turbulent. Yunxiao handed me something so priceless, as if it were a trivial item he found on the street. Not even the Imperial Palace would be this generous. With this technique, even serving him as a slave for years wouldn't be a loss. As he approached the towering alchemy tower, Jarong's thoughts lingered on Yunxiao. Just who is this young Master Yun? The more I think about it, the more unfathomable he becomes. Rebirth. My soul power is not even as good as that of an ordinary rank 1 alchemist. Just now, I used the soul-stealing secret method to instantly shock Jarong. This resulted in me losing a significant portion of my remaining soul power. Yunxiao thinks, sitting cross-legged, his eyes slightly closed. A golden text emerged in his mind, its symbols resembling tadpoles, flashing briefly before vanishing into the sea of consciousness. Despite his efforts, he couldn't make the text condense on his spiritual platform. Although the awakening of his soul meant he was destined to become powerful, Li Yunxiao's goal extended far beyond this. He aimed to surpass his previous life and break into the legendary realm. His greatest reliance wasn't just the memories of his past life or the tyrant body refining art, but also the soul-refining technique he had discovered in the Tiandang Mountains before his death, the great evolution divine art. This method of refining the soul was unheard of, and its recorded techniques exceeded his imagination. He believed that his ability to regenerate his soul was tied to this mysterious art. When his memories resurfaced, the words of this technique echoed in his mind. In the Tianwu continent, cultivation was divided into two main paths: martial arts cultivation and alchemy cultivation. Martial artists specialized in qi cultivation, with a small number focusing on body refinement, while alchemists specialized in the cultivation of the soul. These three paths corresponded to the body, qi, and soul of a person. While mastery of any one path could dominate the continent, the most powerful figures combined at least two. In his previous life, Yun Shao had reached the Nine Heavens realm, also known as the Martial Sovereign level, in two of the three paths, but had remained stuck at its peak. It was then that he realized his physical strength was holding him back. To address this, he had obtained the Tyrant Body Refining Art. Only by achieving peak levels in body, qi, and soul could one attempt to reach the legendary 10 Directions realm. Using the Great Evolution Divine Art, I'll elevate my soul power to the 9th level. With the Tyrant Body Refining Art, I'll combine all three paths to ascend to the 10 Directions Divine Realm and become invincible. A golden gleam flickered in his eyes, penetrating through layers of space as if he could see the edge of the infinite void. With a 5-colored divine space stone in hand, he planned to refine 13 divine needles, enough to stimulate his body's potential and elevate his chakras. He immediately began practicing the Great Evolution Divine Art. His damaged soul power recovered rapidly, reaching the peak level of a magic apprentice. Although he fell short of the first-rank alchemist, it was sufficient to craft divine needles and prepare the potions needed. Li Yunxiao entered the practice room, a chamber made of durable diamond rock. He took out the purple gold sand provided by Jarong and ground it into dust, drawing a pentagram formation on the ground. The 5-colored divine space stone shattered under the power of his black sword, and his soul power wrapped the fragments within the formation. With meticulous control, he guided the particles, using his experience from his past life to refine the material. Despite his current level being that of a high-level apprentice, his expertise allowed him to achieve results comparable to a rank 1 alchemist. As the 5-colored divine space stone condensed, bursts of light emanated, purifying itself as it transformed. 13 needles, gleaming with divine light, materialized and fell into his hands. Next, he began preparing the potion for cleansing the meridians and washing the marrow. Using monster blood and various materials, he orchestrated a complex series of chemical reactions, his soul power monitoring every step. After several bursts and violent reactions, he finally produced a dark green liquid. Highly toxic yet perfectly balanced. Yun Shao immersed the needles in the potion and, controlling them with his soul power, inserted them into his body to unclog his meridian points. A dense mist enveloped the room as his body absorbed the immense medicinal power. The needles protected his acupuncture points while channeling the potion's energy. As the balance of energy tipped, the needles ejected from his body, causing the potion to evaporate in an explosive mist. Emerging from the training room, Li Yunxiao sighed. Only 5 chakras opened. What a pity! Most warriors would have considered this an incredible feat, but for him, it was merely a step forward. He cleaned himself and joined Han and Chun, who expressed anger over Lon Fay's recent actions. Despite their concerns about retaliation, especially from Lan Shien, Lon Fay's powerful half-brother, who was a peak martial warrior on the verge of breaking through to martial master, Li Yunxiao remained confident. If Lan Shien doesn't come for me, I'll go to him, Li Yunxiao said with a smirk, determination flashing in his eyes. His ambitions were clear: to claim the 5-colored divine stone. In a secluded building within the academy, Lon Fay roared angrily at his uncle Wang Feng. "Uncle, I can't let this go. I must get back at him." Wang Feng's expression darkened as he snapped, "Shut up, you fool! You nearly caused a disaster." If Lan Shien wasn't in seclusion, your mother's years of hard work would have been ruined. Lon Fay froze, his arrogance momentarily replaced by fear. How could it be that serious? I just asked Brother Shien to teach that waste a lesson and help me vent my anger. His uncle sneered, his eyes glinting with disdain, and said that so-called waste from the Li family is insignificant. Your real enemy is Lan Shien. Losing the family's direct lineage token has put you in a dangerous position. If Lan Shien finds out, the family will reprimand you at best, but at worst, you'll lose your status as a direct descendant and be relegated to a collateral branch. Lon Fay's face turned pale. Panic replaced his earlier bravado. Uncle, what should I do? You must help me. Wang Feng's expression softened slightly, though his voice remained firm. Don't worry. You are my sister's son. I'll naturally help you. But as a teacher at the academy, I cannot act directly against students without justification. The consequences would be severe. Fortunately, the junior class's annual assessment is in 7 days. If that boy hasn't opened his chakra by then, I'll ensure he's expelled under the academy's rules. Once he's out, we can deal with him before he returns to the Li family. We'll retrieve the keepsake. And as for him, you can do whatever you want with him. Lon Fay clenched his fists, his nails digging into his palms. 7 days? I can't wait that long. Just thinking about what happened makes me want to skin him alive. His expression twisted with malice. Uncle, I'll ruin his reputation during these 7 days. I have a plan, but I'll need your cooperation. Wang Feng raised an eyebrow. Oh, what are you planning? Lon Fay leaned closer, whispering into Wang Feng's ear. A sinister smile spread across the older man's face. Interesting. If you succeed, you won't even need 7 days. I underestimated you, nephew. Let's proceed. Meanwhile, in his dormitory, Li Yunxiao was meditating, practicing the great evolution divine art. His spiritual awareness, far surpassing that of ordinary people, alerted him to the presence of 2 figures lurking outside his door. He frowned. Could they be thieves? He got up and opened the door, just in time to see an envelope fall to the ground. The letter bore the elegant inscription to Yun Xiao and was scented with a faint fragrance. Tearing it open, he found a love letter asking him to come to Maple Grove. Li Yunxiao's lips curled into a knowing smile. He thought of the Academy's Maple Grove, a popular spot for romantic rendezvous. Despite recognizing the ploy, he decided to play along. His figure flickered as he left for the forest. Shortly after, 2 figures appeared outside his dormitory. One of them skillfully picked the lock and entered. A few minutes later, they re-emerged, carefully locking the door behind them. Did you set everything up? One whispered. Yes, the other replied. Let's see how this loser handles it. Master Fei's plan is flawless. The 2 left, snickering, unaware that Li Yunxiao had observed everything from a distance. Returning to his room, he soon discovered their setup, his bed stuffed with women's undergarments. He chuckled bitterly. Well played, Lon Fay. If you want to play dirty, I'll join the game. Half an hour later, Li Yunxiao arrived at Maple Grove. Suddenly, a soft cry pierced the air. Help! Help me! A young woman, her clothing torn and her face etched with fear, stumbled out from the shadows. Her fair skin glowed under the moonlight, and her disheveled appearance elicited pity. Stop right there, a voice roared. A man in luxurious attire emerged, his face twisted with anger and lust. You should feel honored that I chose you, he said. The woman, spotting Li Yunxiao, ran toward him. Senior, please save me, she cried, her tear-streaked face full of desperation. Li Yunxiao's sword materialized in his hand, its tip aimed at the woman's throat. His cold voice cut through the night. Stop if you value your life. The woman froze, surprise flickering across her face. Senior, he's trying to harm me. Please, save me. Her tears sparkled in the moonlight, making her appear even more pitiful. She begged, I'll do anything you ask, just save me. But Li Yunxiao's expression remained indifferent. His eyes, cold and detached, betrayed no emotion. The man behind her sneered. Boy, leave now, or you'll regret it. This girl belongs to me. The noble grabbed the woman's shoulder, ripping away her veil and exposing more of her delicate skin. The noble pushed her to the ground. She struggled and cried out, "Save me! Please, save me!" Li Yunxiao opened his eyes slightly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Don't worry, I'll save you very soon." Li Yunxiao's calm demeanor hinted at a deeper understanding of the situation, ready to turn the tables on those who sought to manipulate him. Meng Wu, trembling and distressed, struggled to rise from the ground. The noble sneered at Yunxiao and declared, "You dare to interfere with me? Do you even know who I am? I'm Lu Yitian, son of Lu Siki, the commander of the Imperial Guard." Yunxiao's expression remained indifferent, a faint smirk playing on his lips. "Oh, so you're Lu Yitian," he remarked casually, turning his attention back to Meng Wu. His voice softened, though a hint of irony lingered. "I am not the one saving you, they are." Meng Wu blinked in confusion. "They?" she asked, her voice trembling. Before she could receive an answer, a group emerged from the shadows surrounding the trio. The leader of the group pointed an accusing finger at Lu Yitian and roared, "Lu Yitian, you despicable beast! You've gone too far this time. You are nothing more than a shameless criminal." The moment Lu Yitian saw Teacher Fong, his bravado crumbled. His heart sank, and his legs began to tremble as he looked toward the figure standing among the crowd. Under the pale moonlight, the stern face of Teacher Fong, the infamous director of the teaching department, known as the God of Killing, glared at him with unrelenting intensity. "Lu Yitian, you animal!" Teacher Fong's voice boomed, and in the blink of an eye, he closed the distance between them. A resounding slap sent Lu Yitian sprawling to the ground. Han rallied the growing crowd, shouting, "Let's not let this monster go unpunished." He assaulted a fellow student. Justice must be served. As the mob closed in on Lu Yitian, his screams of agony echoed through the night. Teacher Fong turned to Meng Wu, his expression softening slightly. "Are you hurt? What's your name, and why were you with this scoundrels?" he asked. Meng Wu stammered, her voice barely audible. My name is Meng Wu. I didn't, Her words faltered and she looked down, overwhelmed by the situation. Before she could explain further, Yun Xiao stepped forward, placing an arm protectively around her shoulders. "Don't be afraid," he said reassuringly. "With me here, no one will hurt you." Meng Wu tensed under his touch, her face flushing with embarrassment. Yun Xiao's grip tightened slightly as he whispered soothing words into her ear, his tone playful. Despite her discomfort, she lacked the strength to resist. Teacher Fong, seemingly oblivious to Meng Wu's unease, nodded approvingly at Yun Xiao. "Good work, Yun Xiao. You handled this situation well. I'll ensure that beast is dealt with properly. Go ahead, Teacher Fong. Meng Wu will be safe with me," Yun Xiao replied smoothly. Meng Wu's eyes widened in silent protest, but her voice failed her because of Yun Xiao's finger. By this time, the crowd surrounding Lu Yitian had grown significantly. Students vented their fury, berating and striking him in turn. Lu Yitian, battered and humiliated, pleaded for mercy, his voice drowned out by the mob's cries for justice. In the shadows of the forest, Lon Fay and his accomplices observed the scene. One of the lackeys hissed, "Boss, we should save Lu Yitian." Lon Fay scowled, his eyes narrowing with hatred. "Calm down," he snapped. "If you rush out now, you'll only make things worse. Lu Yitian is finished, but we'll have our chance. Everything is in place for the next phase." The lackeys exchanged nervous glances before nodding. "We've done as you instructed, boss. Yun Xiao won't escape next time." Lon Fay's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Enjoy your victory while you can, Yun Xiao. The real game is just beginning." As the night wore on, the crowd began to disperse, satisfied that Lu Yitian would face the consequences of his actions. Teacher Fong, now standing over Lu Yitian's battered form, issued a final declaration. Lu Yitian will be reported to the dean immediately. He will not be allowed to remain in this academy. The students cheered at the announcement, their voices echoing through the trees. "Don't be afraid. It's over now." Yun Xiao reassured Meng Wu softly before passing her to Zhu Feifei, her dorm mate. As the group dispersed, a sudden commotion erupted nearby. The sound of gongs and drums echoed loudly, drawing everyone's attention. A crowd of students approached, their faces filled with anger. At the front was Lon Fay, his posture commanding. Teacher Fong frowned. "What is happening here?" he asked sharply. Lon Fay stepped forward, his voice indignant. "Teacher Fong, you're here." "That's perfect. There's a thief in the academy, a pervert who's been stealing female students' underwear." Gasps and exclamations filled the air as students expressed their outrage. The female students, in particular, were livid. The princess stepped forward, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Teacher Fong, I've also been a victim. Please, bring this thief to justice." Lon Fay smirked inwardly and announced. The thief was seen fleeing toward Maple Grove. He relished the opportunity to implicate Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao, however, appeared unfazed. "Lon Fay, how are you so involved in this matter? What does it have to do with you?" he asked, his tone laced with suspicion. The question shifted the crowd's attention to Lon Fay, who faltered briefly. One of his lackeys, Meng Kuan, stepped in. "The boss is only trying to help. He's leading us to catch the thief because I was the one who saw the thief," he declared. Lon Fay, sensing the shift in the crowd's mood, shouted angrily, "Yun Xiao, what are you implying? Are you trying to distract us because you're guilty?" Meng Kuan, emboldened, added, "That's right. The thief's figure looked just like you." Yun Xiao chuckled softly. "Slander me, are we? What's your endgame, Lon Fay?" Lon Fay smirked triumphantly. "If you're innocent, then you won't mind letting us search your dormitory. Refusal will only prove your guilt." Yun Xiao's gaze hardened. "And who are you to demand such a thing?" The princess intervened, her voice firm. "I believe in Yun Xiao's innocence." "Meng Kuan, are you absolutely sure about what you saw?" Meng Kuan hesitated, clearly intimidated by the princess, but under Lon Fay's glare, he nodded. "I'm sure. It was him." Lon Fay pressed on. "Well, Yun Xiao, what do you have to say now?" Yun Xiao addressed Teacher Fong calmly. "Teacher Fong, I have no objections to a search, but if I'm proven innocent, I expect Lon Fay to explain himself." Teacher Fong nodded in agreement, and Lon Fay, feigning confidence, declared, "Fine. If you're innocent, I'll explain myself." With that, the group set off toward Yun Xiao's dormitory. Whispers and speculation filled the air as the students marched through the campus, their anticipation building. Despite the tension, Yun Xiao walked with unwavering confidence, a faint smile playing on his lips. The crowd finds Teacher Wang already standing at the dormitory gates. "I heard there was a perverted thief on the loose," Teacher Wang explained casually. Spotting another figure among the crowd, he added, "Oh, Teacher Fong, you're here too?" Teacher Fong, known for his stern and impartial nature, frowned as he assessed the situation. His years of experience hinted something was amiss. Meanwhile, Yun Xiao smirked and remarked, "Why are you at my dormitory? Didn't Meng Kuan claim the thief ran towards Maple Grove?" The veiled accusation in Yun Xiao's tone was unmistakable. Teacher Fong's expression darkened, and his voice turned stern as he addressed Teacher Wang. "What's going on here?" Teacher Wang, unbothered by the implications, retorted, "I'm here to catch the thief, just like you. This criminal is brazen and depraved. Once caught, I suggest they be expelled immediately to protect the students." Teacher Fong's gaze grew colder. Catching thieves is important, but if anyone dares to manipulate the situation and falsely accuse someone, I won't tolerate it. Yun Xiao's voice cut through the tension, his tone calm, yet laced with irony. "Since Teacher Wang values fairness so much, I'm relieved. Please go ahead and search my dormitory." He unlocked the door and gestured for the group to enter. Teacher Wang hesitated momentarily, noting Yun Xiao's composed demeanor. Doubt flickered in his mind, but the confident nod from Lon Fay seemed to reassure him. "Search it thoroughly," Teacher Wang instructed. Everyone enters into the room. Yun Xiao followed, his posture relaxed. His gaze lingered on Lon Fay, whose expression betrayed a hint of unease. Minutes passed, and the search yielded nothing. Frustration etched across Lon Fay's face. Realizing the growing tension, Teacher Wang interjected. This bedroom isn't very large. It's clear that Yun Xiao is innocent. The thief must be someone else. Princess, visibly relieved, turned to Yun Xiao with a mixture of irritation and admiration. He had this all planned, she thought, angered by how much she had worried. Attempting to end the debacle, Teacher Wang announced, since the matter is settled, let's all return to our duties. Yun Xiao's voice rang out, stopping everyone in their tracks. Teacher Wang, didn't you just claim the thief is someone else? Are you not going to pursue them? Caught off guard, Teacher Wang replied tersely, without witnesses or evidence, it'll be difficult to identify the culprit. The school will handle it. Yun Xiao's smirk widened. No witnesses? Didn't Meng Kuan claim he saw it with his own eyes? Or is Meng Kuan's testimony unreliable? If that's the case, I must suspect that Lon Fay, his master, is the real mastermind. Lon Fay, already on edge, snapped, Don't slander me, Yun Xiao? Yun Xiao's tone turned icy. The evidence clears my name. Now, it's your turn to prove your innocence. Allow us to search your dormitory. Lon Fay bristled at the accusation but maintained his composure. Fine, he said, feigning righteousness. If you want to search, then search. But this isn't over, Yun Xiao. The group made their way to Lon Fay's dormitory, located in an exclusive area reserved for the wealthy. Lon Fay unlocked the door with a flourish and stepped aside. Search as much as you like, he said coldly. But if you damage anything, don't expect to afford the consequences. Han and Chen entered first, emerging moments later with a locked wooden box. Young Master Yun, this box can't be opened, Han reported. Lon Fay's expression darkened. That's my personal belongings. It requires my key to open. He produced a golden key, inserted it into the lock, and opened the box with a click. The moment the lid lifted, gasps filled the room. Inside were various stolen items, including pieces of girls' underwear. Teacher Wang's face turned ashen, realizing the situation was beyond salvaging. Lon Fay, however, was struck speechless. His shock quickly turned to denial as he shouted, This isn't mine. I've been framed. Yun Xiao's voice was calm but cutting. Framed? Didn't you just say this box was accessible only with your key? Lon Fay's retort died in his throat. Princess, furious and humiliated, shouted, You pervert! I'll make sure the dean expels you. The crowd erupted in anger, with chants of expel, expel, echoing through the dormitory halls. Chen rummaged through the box and uncovered another surprise. There's half a box of soap in here, he remarked. Han's derisive laugh followed. Rumor has it Lon Fay has a peculiar habit of dropping soap in the boys' bathhouse and making others pick it up. Disgust rippled through the crowd. Male students recoiled, some visibly nauseated. Lon Fay, overwhelmed, collapsed to the ground, trembling. Yun Xiao addressed the crowd with righteous indignation. The evidence speaks for itself. Lon Fay has wronged countless students. However, we must allow the academy to handle this fairly. Let the teachers decide his punishment. Teacher Fong, impressed by Yun Xiao's composure, declared firmly, I will report this to the dean immediately. Rest assured, justice will be served. Princess added vehemently, if this pervert isn't expelled, we'll take this to my father. I refuse to coexist with him. The students cheered in agreement, their determination unwavering. Lon Fay, desperate, clung to Teacher Wang. Uncle, help me! Teacher Wang shook him off, his voice cold and dismissive. You've brought this upon yourself. With that, he pushed through the crowd and left, unwilling to risk his reputation further. Lon Fay's cries were drowned out by the crowd's chants. Defeated and disgraced, he remained on the floor as the students dispersed, their demands for justice echoing in his ears. The academy had made its decision. Lon Fay, caught red-handed for stealing girls' clothes, had been expelled with the evidence against him irrefutable. The college leaders unanimously agreed that he would never be admitted again. Shouting, Young Master Yun, Young Master Yun, Han rushed over early the next morning and says there are two pieces of news, one good, one bad. Which do you want to hear? Yun Xiao looked up leisurely. The good news first. I assume it's that Lon Fay has been expelled. Hanbai gave a thumbs up, clearly impressed. You're right. The bad news is that the supervisor for this year's academic exam is Lon Fay's uncle, Teacher Wang. We're finished. None of us will stand a chance. Yun Xiao sneered. Finished? If he doesn't know his place, I'll make sure he follows his nephew out. Han, clearly stunned, says, Young Master Yun, you're so domineering. But don't mess with him. Wang Feng is a teacher here, not like Lon Fay, who is just a student. Humph, I don't care who he is. What about Lan Shien? Yun Xiao suddenly asked. Han's face turned pale. I almost forgot. Lan Shien has already announced that he wants to avenge his brother. This could be troublesome. Yun Xiao's smile deepened, his eyes gleaming with intrigue. Oh, that's just perfect. He had been thinking about the five-color divine stone Lan Shien possessed. At the same time, a tense assessment was underway on the fourth floor of the Alchemy Guild Tower. Luo Yun focused intently on a giant battle axe suspended in the air, glowing a fierce red from the quenching true fire that enveloped it. The intense heat radiated outward, forcing the air to shimmer. Luo Yun spread her fingers and golden starlight spilled out, surrounding the battle axe. The once violent weapon began to stabilize, its red hue softening into a steady, powerful glow. Luo Yun commanded softly, "Condense!" The axe shrank rapidly before falling into her hands as a miniaturized version, now complete. Luo Yun held the battle axe, her face lighting up with joy as she approached the men, her respect for the white-bearded old man, Master Su, evident. Master Su, please take a look. Master Su gave the axe a cursory glance and smiled. No need to examine it further. This Hongyang axe has reached the level of a first-grade upper-tier Shen weapon. Yunshang, you've passed the test? Applause erupted from the other men, their admiration for her clear in their expressions. Luo Yunshang's eyes sparkled with pride. Thank you, Master Su, and to all the masters. Master Su shook his head. This success is due to your own hard work. We had little to do with it. I'm just curious, though. How did you manage to incorporate sky crystal sand into the red copper? You failed this part in your previous assessments. The other men nodded in agreement, puzzled by Luo Yunshang's success. Luo Yunshang paused, recalling a moment of advice from Yun Xiao. His words had come back to her. Although red copper belongs to gold, it has a strong fire attribute. But if there's sky crystal sand, it becomes tricky. Because sky crystal sand is water-based, it counters the fire attribute of red copper. To fix this, just treat sky crystal sand as an impurity and remove it with quenching essence. With a flash of understanding, Luo Yunshang nodded. The memory of Yun Xiao's advice had guided her to success. Master Su's eyes widened in realization. So that's how you did it. Yunshang, your discovery shows your brilliance. I'll report to the king tomorrow. He'll be thrilled, and we'll hold a grand banquet to celebrate your achievement. Luo Yunshang blushed slightly, but her exhaustion made her appear even more radiant. Master Su, please, no banquet. I prefer not to make a big fuss. Yen Lei, standing behind Master Su, smiled. This is a great occasion. How can we not celebrate? You're the rising star of Tianshui Kingdom. Your achievements are unmatched. His Majesty himself will surely want to honor you. Luo Yunshang smiled softly, humbled by the praise, though she was more focused on the work ahead. Just then, another voice interrupted. President Su, I have something to report. Jarong, the other new alchemist, is deeply poisoned. Everyone turned shocked as Su Yuan Xiao spoke with a sly grin. I've discovered Jarong used a banned item, the Blood Flame Stone, during the last assessment. The room went silent, confusion and concern rippling through the crowd. Master Su's face darkened. Su Yuan Xiao, what are you implying? Luo Yunshang, sensing the tension, quickly excused herself. Master Su, I'll take my leave for now. Su Han shook his head with a sigh. No need to leave, Yunshang. As a core member of the guild, you have the right to know everything. You're entitled to stay. Su Yuanqiao's face twisted with smugness as he presented a list. This is the evidence. Jarong bought detoxification materials and has been secretly acquiring the detoxification pill. I believe he's been using poison to counteract poison. The other men glanced at each other nervously as the list was passed around. The details were too precise, too alarming. It seemed Su Yuanqiao had done his homework and Jarong's fate was sealed. Bring him in. Master Su commanded, his voice grave. Soon, Jarong entered. He greeted Su Han and nodded to the others, though his gaze lingered on Luo Yunshang with a quiet admiration. I just heard about Lord Yunshang's promotion. Truly remarkable. Luo Yunshang acknowledged him with a smile. Lord Jia, you're too kind. Jarong turned his attention back to Su Han. President Su, I've been in seclusion refining. What is it that requires my attention? Master Su said. Su Yuanqiao suspects you used the blood flame stone. We need an explanation. Jarong's face hardened, but he quickly regained his composure. Su Yuanqiao, you're the one who owes an explanation. Not me. The room fell silent, everyone stunned by the display of Jarong's immense soul power. The situation had taken an unexpected turn. Su Yuanqiao, his eyes wide with disbelief, stammered, This can't be right. He was poisoned. I'm sure of it. But Jarong's grin told a different story, his confidence undeniable. Su Yuanqiao tries to examine Jarong with his soul power, but his soul power was deflected by Jarong's soul power. This made Su Yuanqiao bleed from his eyes and nose. Su Yuanqiao's soul was deeply injured, and a mouthful of blood spurted from his mouth. With disbelief in his eyes, he exclaimed, How can your soul power be so strong? Jarong responded with a cold smile, mocking, I am a true alchemist. Naturally, my soul power is far superior to those counterfeits. The insult caused Su Yuanqiao to tremble with rage, and he spat another mouthful of blood. All right, he muttered, his eyes dimming. His entire body seemed to deflate, drained of all vitality. His spiritual energy was quickly siphoned away, leaving him looking aged and frail. Su Han, watching in stunned silence, sighed. Su Yuanqiao, why are you doing this? Su Yuanqiao's spirit seemed dazed. Trembling, he muttered, President, I'm old and weak. I wish to retire and return home to spend my remaining years peacefully. Please grant me this request. The room fell into stunned silence. Su Yuanqiao's collapse, both physically and mentally, had been swift and absolute. Even Jarong was somewhat surprised, though inwardly he was elated. He had only practiced the soul refining technique for 5 days, and yet his soul power was already enough to crush someone of Su Yuanqiao's stature. For such a skill, even 50 years of servitude would be worth it. Su Han shook his head with a mix of disappointment and empathy in his eyes as he addressed the others. Su Yuanqiao has retired due to poor health. All grievances with him are hereby forgiven. No one is to harass him under any circumstance. His gaze settled on Jarong. Jarong smiled slightly, and with his arms crossed, he accepted the president's order. Su Han asked Jarong to help Luo Yunshang to collect her alchemist badge. Jarong nodded and left with Luo Yunshang to handle the necessary formalities. Master Jia, I have a request, she said cautiously. Jarong raised an eyebrow. Oh, what is it, Miss Yunshang? Luo Yunshang explained. I have a student who, due to physical reasons, is unable to practice martial arts, but he's extremely interested in refining and has acquired considerable knowledge. I was hoping you might consider taking him on as a disciple. Jarong frowned. A disciple? You're an alchemy master yourself, Miss Yunshang. Why would you need my help? Luo Yunshang sighed. His identity is special. As the leader of the National Guards, I can't afford a master-disciple relationship with him. He's the eldest grandson of Lord DONGHUA and the son of General Fai Long. The revelation caught Jarong's attention. I see. I've heard of the eldest grandson of Lord DONGHUA. A martial arts failure, wasn't he? But a martial arts failure with weak body would also struggle to succeed in alchemy. Luo Yun nodded. Indeed, but this person is unique. While he may not be able to become a martial artist, I believe he can still make a significant contribution to alchemy. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate you guiding him. Even if he cannot become your formal disciple, I want to at least give him the opportunity to learn. Jarong's expression turned serious. If he meets the minimum standard of an apprentice alchemist, I will accept him. But this is a favor to you, Miss Yunxiang, he said, not knowing that the person they are talking about is Li Yunxiao. Luo Yunxiang's face brightened. Thank you, Lord Jia, she said as she watched Jarong leave. Reflecting on the conversation, she knew that by sending the young man to Jarong, she was not only providing him an opportunity, but also repaying the favor. 3 days later, the annual assessment at Jialan Academy was underway. The Academy's martial arts arena, a grand structure built by the former president of the Tianshui Kingdom's Alchemist Guild, Yang Di, was the site of the assessment. Its massive size and imposing architecture stood as a testament to the Academy's legacy. Nearby stood a statue of Gu Feiyang, with one hand resting on a sword's hilt and a faint smile on his lips, a tribute to the legendary figure created by his student after his tragic fall. Li Yunxiao stood quietly beside the statue as 2 students walked by, speaking in hushed tones. I have only opened 2 chakras. Will I be eliminated? The other one remarked. Don't worry, only the young master of the Li family will get eliminated this time. Han, Chun, and the princess approached him with concern in their eyes. Yunxiao, just ignore them, they said. Teacher Wang's voice suddenly rang out, silencing the crowd. Everyone's here. Those who aren't, they'll be eliminated. This year, I'm hosting the assessment. He looked around at the gathered students with a sinister smile. We're changing the rules this year. To pass, you must open your chakra and display 1,000 pounds of force. Unlike the previous years, satisfying one condition is no longer enough to pass the test. Anyone who fails a single condition will be eliminated. His gaze lingered on Li Yunxiao, a clear challenge in his eyes. Wang Feng knew that Li Yunxiao had defeated Lon Fay, which means he can pass the strength test. So he changed the rules and was eager to see how the young man would handle this, not knowing Yunxiao has already opened his chakras. Li Yunxiao, unbothered, met his gaze coldly. You want to see? Then open your eyes and watch carefully. With that, a blue light bloomed from his heart chakra. As he walked forward, each step opened a chakra, the light of his energy shining. The root chakra, the ego chakra, the crown chakra, 7 chakras, all opened, lighting up his entire body in a dazzling display. The crowd gasped in awe. Li Yunxiao stood tall, a figure of power and grace, as his spiritual energy flowed freely, overwhelming the arena with his presence. Wang Feng stared in disbelief. How is it possible? Isn't he a waste? Everyone knows he's a well-known failure. But he's so close to entering the martial warrior realm. Wang Feng had initially thought he could defeat Lon Fay through the use of elixirs or martial arts techniques. After all, Li Yunxiao had long been infamous for his damaged meridians, which made it impossible for him to practice martial arts. The students watched in stunned silence as Li Yunxiao took a step forward. He suddenly leaned back and struck out with a punch, his fist landing on the force-measuring stone with a powerful blow. Bang! Massive explosion rang through the arena, sending a shockwave through the air. The energy released struck the force-measuring stone, leaving an imprint of his fist. The onlookers gasped in disbelief. This can't be real, someone whispered. How could he leave such a mark? Is he even a warrior? The power behind that strike, it's more than what a newly advanced warrior could do. The students were in a state of shock. They couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Han and Chen hugged each other. Li Yunxiao, you're good at hiding it. the princess said, her voice tinged with excitement. Wang Feng, however, looked livid, his pride crushed. He cursed Lon Fay in his mind for being such a failure, unable to detect the true power behind Li Yunxiao's abilities. Are you all satisfied now? Li Yunxiao's cold voice rang out. His eyes finally locked onto Wang Feng, and he sneered. Teacher Wang, I've got more important things to do. I'll take my leave now. His words stung like a slap to the face, and Wang Feng seethed with rage. However, he could do nothing but suppress his anger. The moment he stepped forward, the ground cracked beneath him. But before he could recover, a man in white stepped in front of Li Yunxiao, halting his progress. The man smiled, his presence radiating superiority. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lan Shien, from the graduating class of the academy and the leader of the Shien gang. The mention of Lan Shien's name sent a ripple of surprise through the crowd. The students' eyes widened and whispers spread. Lan Shien's imposing presence seemed to demand attention. Li Yunxiao, however, was unfazed. He had dealt with more than enough arrogant individuals in his time. With a dismissive gesture, he pointed at Lan Shien and said coldly, "A good dog doesn't block the road." Lan Shien's fury boiled over, but he quickly masked his emotions. "I'm not here to argue with you," Lan Shien said through gritted teeth. "I came because of my good-for-nothing brother." Li Yunxiao's response was swift. "When you beat the little dog, the big dog comes. You?" Lan Shien's face twisted with rage. "Are all the Li family this uneducated?" Li Yunxiao raised an eyebrow. "Educate your sister. Your family has been at odds with mine for years, and so many have died. I crippled your brother, and now you come to lecture me? You must be a fool. Little bastard, if you want to argue, I'll make you regret coming into this world." Lan Shien snarled. Li Yunxiao clapped. "Yeah, that's right, a ruffian is a ruffian. Why pretend otherwise?" Lan Shien's face turned an even darker shade of red, his anger simmering just beneath the surface. "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to challenge you." Lan Shien produced a letter of challenge. "Originally, the situation with my brother was just a petty matter, a childish prank," Lan Shien continued, his voice dripping with disdain. "But now it's personal. I must teach you a lesson for your actions." Wang Feng, watching from a distance, fumed with frustration. He had spent so much time spreading rumors to salvage Lon Fay's reputation, only for Lan Shien to undo all his work. Now, the possibility of Lon Fay returning to the academy was completely shattered, and Lan Shien's actions only secured his own standing as the true leader of the Lan family. "What do you think of my challenge?" Lan Shien asked, looking at Li Yunxiao with an arrogant smirk. The students whispered among themselves, speculating what Li Yunxiao would do. Some feared that a fight with Lan Shien, 9-star martial warrior, would be a dangerous move. The princess rushed forward, her face full of concern. "Lan Shien, this isn't right. You're in your final year, and you're already on the verge of becoming a martial master. Li Yunxiao is still just a martial apprentice. Do you have no shame?" Li Yunxiao sneered. "The younger brother steals women's underwear. How good can the older brother be? When has the Lan family ever cared about face?" Lan Shien's face turned crimson with humiliation, and he scoffed. "You're just scared. You want a woman to fight for you? So this is the eldest grandson of Duke DONGHUA and the son of General Feilong." Li Yunxiao's gaze remained cold, and before Lan Shien could say more, he spat a mouthful of spit directly at him. It flew with such speed that Lan Shien could barely react in time. Li Yunxiao raised his middle finger, smirking as he said, "I accept your challenge. 3 days from now, in the martial arts arena, I'll make you kneel and lick my shoes." The crowd stood in stunned silence, unable to process what they had just heard. Han and Chun were terrified, rushing over to stand by Li Yunxiao, urging him not to be reckless. The princess anxiously said, "Li Yunxiao, don't do it. This isn't the time for you to be showing off." Li Yunxiao gave them a warm smile, and the three of them suddenly felt a strange sense of reassurance. Despite the danger, they found themselves believing in him completely. Lan Shien, seething with anger, struggled to maintain his composure. You said it. If you don't show up in 3 days, there will be no place for you in the academy. Li Yunxiao didn't even glance back. He only laughed faintly, his voice carrying over his shoulder. Don't worry, I won't be washing my feet for the next 3 days. Lan Shien's face twisted with rage as he watched Li Yunxiao walk away, his mind seething with plans for the upcoming battle. The conflict between the Li and Lan families had spanned decades, but now it was personal. Li Yunxiao's eyes narrowed as he walked away, a cold resolve settling in his heart. It would begin with Lan Shien, and from there he would uproot the entire Lan family. Without a word, he left the academy heading straight for the Alchemist Guild, his mind set on the challenges ahead. In the Alchemist Tower, Li Yunxiao scanned the room and noticed an alchemy apprentice deeply focused on preparing a potion. The faint smell of medicinal herbs lingered in the air. The apprentice was engrossed in the process, carefully channeling his soul power into the potion vessel. Li Yunxiao, observing the scene, couldn't resist offering advice. You've added too much cross-refining grass? You need to neutralize it with a dust flower or it'll explode in 5 breaths? The apprentice glanced up, noticing Li Yunxiao for the first time, and responded with irritation. What do you know? Don't disturb me. 3 breaths, 2 breaths, 1 breath. Li Yunxiao murmured under his breath. At the final count, the potion, which had been calm until then, suddenly began to bubble violently before exploding with a loud bang. The apprentice stood there stunned, drenched in potion. Explosions like this were a common occurrence in the hall, so no one paid much attention. How did you know there was too much cross-refining grass? The apprentice finally asked, still shaken. Li Yunxiao smiled. It's just something I can smell. I'm looking for Jarong. Could you pass the message for me? The apprentice frowned. Master Jarong is in seclusion. I'm not qualified to find him. At that moment, a beautiful woman approached, concern evident in her voice. Brother, did you fail again? Are you hurt? The apprentice, Luo Yun, shook his head. I'm fine, just wet. It's a waste of these materials. I feel like a failure. Li Yunxiao turned to the woman, smiling. Miss Lu Yao. She turned in surprise. Ah, it's you. With a gentle bow, Li Yunxiao said, It's an honor that the beauty remembers me. Lu Yao chuckled. Last time, Master Liang, when you praised your single prescription highly, Luo Yun looked at Li Yunxiao with interest. Are you an alchemist too? Li Yunxiao nodded. I used to be, but not anymore. I need to find Jarong. Would you be kind enough to pass the message? Lu Yao blinked in surprise before replying. Master Jarong just came out of seclusion. Follow me. She turned to Luo Yun. Brother, don't give up. Keep trying and you'll succeed. Luo Yun sighed, his tone heavy with frustration. Sister, you have always been the one earning money for my studies. I don't wish to burden you anymore. Maybe I just don't have the talent to become an alchemist. Luo Yao's eyes softened. Brother, don't be like this. I believe in you. You can do it. Despite the encouragement, Luo Yun looked down, his resolve waning. Li Yunxiao smiled and said, just add 3 less cross-refining grass. If the color is too light, add 1 cloud mushroom. Trust me, you can do it. Luo Yun's eyes widened in surprise. Are you really an alchemist? Luo Yao encouraged her brother. You should try it. Last time, Master Liang praised his prescription. After a moment of thought, Luo Yun nodded. All right, I'll give it a shot. Li Yunxiao smiled and followed Luo Yao up to the 2nd floor. Soon, they arrived at a room. Luo Yao knocked gently, and a voice from inside responded impatiently, as if disturbed in the middle of his practice. Yunxiao said, Jarong, it's me, open the door. Moments later, the door opened with a bang. Jarong tried to hug Yunxiao, only to be stopped by a direct kick to his face. Luo Yao was left in stunned silence. She had never seen Jarong, usually so proud and arrogant, act so deferential toward a young man. Not polite, but downright respectful, more respectful than when he met the guild president. Li Yunxiao said to her, You can go now. Li Yunxiao entered the room. Inside, it was spacious, filled with various refining equipment and formations. At the far corner was a small resting area with soft leather sofa and a bed. The life of a magic refiner was grueling, requiring day and night practice, but it earned them the respect they had earned. Jarong, still beaming with excitement, spoke in a rush. "Young Master Yun, I not only recovered all my soul power, but I also broke through. I actually made a real breakthrough." Li Yunxiao glanced at him with mild indifference. "I came here to ask you to help me refine 2 pills." Yes, of course." Jarong immediately agreed. Li Yunxiao continued, "I need an origin-impacting pill and an origin-blasting pill." Jarong's eyes widened in disbelief. Origin-impacting pill and origin-blasting pill? These are close to second-level pills. I just became a first-level alchemist. I'm afraid I won't be able to make them." Li Yunxiao sneered. "I'm here, aren't I? Don't worry. Just start preparing the materials now. I don't have much time." Jarong was confused but complied. He quickly arranged for 3 sets of materials to be prepared, though he doubted they would be enough. "Why do you need 3 sets?" Li Yunxiao asked, raising an eyebrow. Jarong hesitated before explaining a first-level alchemist has a success rate of over 60%, but for something like the origin-impacting pill and origin-blasting pills, the chances are lower. 3 sets should cover it, though I've already asked them to find more. Li Yunxiao said nothing but walked to the refining equipment and took charge. "Let's begin. You'll follow my instructions." Jarong, still in disbelief, followed Li Yunxiao's every command. The refining process was meticulous, requiring a careful balance of medicinal properties, and he quickly found himself nearly exhausted by the effort. "Okay, collect the elixirs," Li Yunxiao ordered, and Jarong, unable to take any more, rushed to complete the task. The 2 elixirs, origin-impacting and origin-blasting pills, floated gently in the air before landing in his hands. Jarong stared at them in awe. "I can't believe it. I actually succeeded, and I made 2 pills at once. How is this possible?" The exhaustion faded as he marveled at the results, but Li Yunxiao was less impressed. He took the pills, examined them briefly, and frowned. "Why is the purity so low? You're calling this refined? It's garbage?" Jarong's eyes widened in shock, but he didn't dare argue. He simply stood there, stunned by Li Yunxiao's unrelenting criticism. Li Yunxiao muttered in frustration, "You look like you're almost exhausted. I have to purify it myself. It's troublesome." He then added, "But if it's just purification, my soul power as advanced apprentice should be enough." He wrapped the elixir in his soul power and hovered over the formation. With a series of hand seals, a stream of Yin fire shot up from the formation and began to burn the elixir. Jarong stood in stunned silence, his eyes wide. "Purify? Can the finished product really be purified? Isn't it only the raw materials that can be?" he asked, incredulous. Li Yunxiao, uninterested in explaining, continued to change the seals with practiced ease, carefully controlling the burn on the formation. Jarong watched intently, his mind racing to comprehend the hand seals. Although he had never seen these specific refining hand seals before, each one seemed oddly familiar, as if it contained something important. Yet, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't quite grasp it, and he scratched his head in frustration. After a while, Li Yunxiao sighed, a sense of dissatisfaction lingering. "It's done," he said, holding the 2 purified pills in his hands. "It's only purified to this extent. My soul power is still too low." With the origin-impacting pill, he was certain to reach the 1-star martial warrior within 3 days. That would give him the strength to defeat Lan Shien, the 9-star martial warrior. As a backup, he also carried a origin-blasting pill, ensuring that he would face no risk. Jarong, lost in thought, silently counted the hand seals, 72 in total. But when he glanced at the purified pills, his mind went blank, and he murmured, "Flawless pill?" Generally, pills are classified not only by their level, but also by their purity. A pill with a purity over 90% was considered a flawless pill. Li Yunxiao left the room, and as he walked past the lobby on the first floor of the Alchemist Guild, he overheard Lu Yu's excited voice shouting, "Success! I finally succeeded!" Lu Yao smiled happily and, seeing Li Yunxiao, gave him a grateful smile. Li Yunxiao responded with a thumbs up before leaving the guild and heading back to academy to continue his secluded practice. He knew that to defeat Lan Shien, he needed to condense his Yuan energy and break through to martial warrior level. If he wanted to challenge a 9-star warrior, he had to be fully prepared. Meanwhile, in the dean's office at the academy, the dean Zhong listened to Luo Yunxiang's report on her recent advancements and chuckled, his old face breaking into a smile. At just 21, you've reached the 3-star martial lord realm and become a first-level alchemist. Your future is limitless. I'm planning to announce at the banquet that you'll be promoted to vice president of the academy. Luo Yunxiang was taken aback. Vice Dean, how could that be possible? The dean interrupted her, his voice firm. If you can't do it, I can't think of anyone else. You are cultivating soul power, and you're one of the 5 commanders of the National Guards. Only you can command the respect of everyone. Luo Yunxiang fell silent. Refusing would likely upset the dean, so she simply remained quiet. The office was heavy with silence until a commotion outside the window drew their attention. A large group of students was heading toward the martial arts arena. What's going on? Why is everyone heading to the arena? She asked, puzzled. The dean smiled. It's quite interesting. Li Yunxiao, one of your students, has accepted a challenge from Lan Shien, leader of the Shien gang, to fight for Lon Fay's honor today. Luo Yunxiang's eyes widened. Li Yunxiao accepted Lan Shien's challenge? What happened while I was away? The dean briefly recounted the events and then scoffed. These students from the powerful class are becoming more and more unruly. Let them fight. It'll be good for them. Luo Yunxiang, however, was alarmed. No, I must stop this. Li Yunxiao is just a waste who can't even open his chakras. How could he possibly defeat Lan Shien? He's clearly walking into trouble. The dean's eyes narrowed in surprise. What? A waste who can't open his chakras? Yunxiang, we've both been deceived. During the 3-day test at the training ground, he opened 7 chakras and punched with 1,000-pound force. It seems this kid is far more scheming than we thought. I suspect he's already broken through to the martial warrior level. Luo Yunxiang, stunned, murmured to herself, 1,000-pound punch? That can't be true. If he'd broken through, I would have noticed. It's impossible. The dean chuckled. Well, let's go see for ourselves. I'm curious to see where he stands now. Meanwhile, in the tenfold gravity room, Senior Yu remarked to Luolan, today, that loser is fighting Lan Shien. Are we really not going to watch? Luolan's eyes narrowed with disdain. You go ahead. I don't have time for that. Lan Shien's just picking on the weak. Only Lin Yu and Bai Chungfeng are true strong men in my eyes. Senior Yu felt uncomfortable as he noticed Luolan's focus shift to Lin Yu. Determined, Senior Yu left on his own to watch the fight. Luolan watched him go, scoffing. He's only interested in watching others fight. Pathetic. Suddenly a familiar figure walked past Luolan, catching her off guard. Li Yunxiao, she whispered, her voice tinged with disbelief. At the martial arts arena, a large crowd had gathered. However, as time passed and Li Yunxiao failed to appear, frustration began to grow. That kid's not coming, is he? Someone muttered. Probably not, another person added. Better to lose face than risk his life. Lan Shien, sitting in the arena, was clearly annoyed by the delay, but remained composed, closing his eyes as the discussions around him continued. Suddenly, a voice broke the murmurs. That useless kid is finally here. Everyone turned to see a figure approaching in the distance. Li Yunxiao walked slowly, his presence commanding attention. He moved as though he were out for a casual stroll, as if the competition was merely a leisurely outing. The princess squeezed through the crowd in a fit of rage and rushed toward Li Yunxiao. You idiot! Why did you come? Go back quickly, he will kill you, she shouted. Before anything more could be said, Luo Yunxiang appeared in front of him. Her voice rang out angrily. Get back! Stop causing trouble. I now declare the duel cancelled. The crowd fell silent in shock. Cancelled, they murmured in disbelief. No wonder he's so confident. Looks like he had a trick up his sleeve. You've really embarrassed the Li family. Someone spat. Luo Yunxiang's gaze sharpened, her voice cold. I only know that Li Yunxiao is my student, and I have an obligation to protect him. Li Yunxiao, standing behind Luo Yunxiang, suddenly spoke up. Teacher Luo, I am the one who is your student, so why are you protecting Lan Shien? Everyone, you can leave. It will only take a few minutes to destroy Lan Shien. Luo Yunxiang and the others were stunned. Without waiting for a response, Li Yunxiao stepped onto the martial arts field, walking toward Lan Shien with determination. Luo Yunxiang clenched her fists in frustration, unable to stop the duel. She could only focus, prepared to intervene if necessary. She couldn't let Li Yunxiao be harmed. Lan Shien sneered from the other side. I thought you'd chicken out, he taunted. Li Yunxiao's expression hardened. Do you think you can extend your lifeline by saying a few words? His voice was, and a surge of energy radiating from his body. Luo Yunxiang's eyes widened in shock. A warrior, she muttered under her breath. Though the dean had told her Li Yunxiao had made progress, seeing it firsthand left her stunned. Just a few days ago, he had been nothing more than a waste with no chakra. Now, he was a martial warrior. The crowd gasped in disbelief. No wonder my useless brother couldn't match him, Lan Shien sneered, a hint of anger creeping into his voice. With a burst of energy, Lan Shien's aura exploded, causing the air around him to spiral. The pressure was palpable, and students near the training ground felt it shift. Impressive, a teacher remarked, nodding with approval. Lan Shien is truly extraordinary. Within a month, he'll likely break through to Martial Master realm. One of the other teachers chuckled. Look at their auras. I doubt Li Yunxiao will last even one move. Wang Feng stood to the side, his face grim. He wanted Lan Shien to be defeated so that Lon Fay gets another chance to rise, but deep down he knew it was a far-off dream. The dean suddenly entering said, one move? I don't think so. I think you're all underestimating Li Yunxiao. This duel might be worth watching. The other teachers looked at him in surprise. Luo Yunxiang, too, narrowed her eyes as she focused on Li Yunxiao. His movements were slow, seemingly labored under the immense pressure Lan Shien's aura exuded. It seemed as though each step drained him. However, the dean, being a powerful martial artist of the Martial King realm, noticed something subtle. He observed that with each step Li Yunxiao took, the surrounding space seemed to vibrate, as if in harmony with his movements. It was a strange sensation, something he had never seen before. Lan Shien smirked. You're already struggling under my pressure, and you still think you can defeat me? His right palm began to glow with a whirl of energy, pulsating outward like ripples on water. But as the attack surged toward Li Yunxiao, something unexpected happened. Li Yunxiao's body suddenly shot upward, breaking through the attack's wind. The ground beneath his feet shattered as he soared into the air, faster than anyone could follow. Lan Shien's eyes widened. What? So fast? Li Yunxiao's speed was beyond anything Lan Shien had anticipated. You think you can escape? Not a chance. With a flick of his wrist, the vortex expanded, extending the attack range dramatically, trapping Li Yunxiao in midair. But Yunxiao twisted midair, his body shifting in an almost impossible way, dodging the attack effortlessly. Lan Shien's expression turned to one of disbelief. What kind of movement technique is this? He's moving in the air. As Li Yunxiao's body shifted once more, he planted a foot firmly in the air, defying gravity. The dean's eyes widened in horror. That step, it wasn't just a movement. It was perfectly aligned with the frequency of the heavens and earth. He's pulling the power of the world into his body. As the golden light enveloped Li Yunxiao, the gathered energy seemed to rush into his body, drawing power from the very world around him. The dean couldn't believe his eyes. He's borrowing the power of heavens and earth, he exclaimed in shock. This statement left everyone in a state of disbelief. While Yunxiao was floating in the air looking majestic and his eyes shining golden. Yun Xiao's aura intensified, growing stronger with each passing moment, like a meteorite descending from heavens. His hands shifted rapidly, forming intricate seals, leaving behind afterimages in the air. As the energy coalesced, 3 golden hand seals materialized, drawing in the surrounding forces, their radiance becoming increasingly blinding. Softly, Yun Xiao murmured, "Life is but a dream, Fei Hong's seal." The 3 golden lights merged into one, resembling a meteor crashing down. A massive golden palm print descended from the sky. The dean's eyes widened in shock. The seal of life. How is this possible? With Yun Xiao's current strength, he shouldn't be able to wield it. He must be channeling the power of heaven and earth to complete this move. But even that requires an unparalleled understanding of such forces. I can barely comprehend them myself. How did he achieve this? Could he be a disciple of Yang Di? Luo Yun was equally stunned. Is this truly Lord Yang Di's seal of life? Impossible. He's merely a 1-star warrior. How could he execute such a technique? What is his connection to Yang Di? The spectators were left speechless. The sudden shift in the battle was so overwhelming that they could scarcely process it. None had ever witnessed such a grand display of martial power. They stood frozen, eyes wide, minds blank. Lan Shien, standing in the martial arena, was just as paralyzed. The sheer force of the approaching attack shattered his resolve before it even reached him. His clothes disintegrated into ashes, and blood seeped from cracks forming on his skin. Then, with an earth-shaking impact, the Fei Hong seal struck him. Golden light erupted from his body as he was hurled through the air like a deflating balloon, leaving a trail of blood behind. His body crashed dozens of meters away, shattering the diamond rock upon impact. As Yun Xiao landed, he exhaled deeply. His face turned pale, his body trembling from exhaustion. The battle had drained every ounce of his vitality, and the borrowed power of heaven and earth had faded. A heavy silence engulfed the arena. When Yun Xiao had first displayed his shape-shifting technique, whispers had spread among the spectators. But now, after the execution of the Fei Hong seal, not a single voice was heard. Though Lan Shien's defeat had seemed inevitable the moment Yun Xiao unleashed the move, witnessing it firsthand left everyone in stunned disbelief. One move, a single strike, had completely annihilated Lan Shien, a 9-star peak warrior, without leaving room for any doubt. The young master of the Li family, long regarded as a failure, had utterly overwhelmed the leader of the Shen gang. The image of the Fei Hong seal, borrowing the power of heaven and earth, was burned into the minds of all who had witnessed it. Even the dean, Luo Yun, teacher Wang, the princess, Chun Han Senior Yu, and every Shen gang disciple were left in stunned silence, their thoughts blank. Yun Xiao's breathing was heavy as he struggled to recover. The battle technique he had just used was only viable against lower-level warriors. Its preparation required too much time, something high-level battles would never allow. He stepped forward, his cold gaze fixed on Lan Shien, who lay battered in the distance. Murmurs finally broke the silence. How could this happen? Lan Shien lost? And so miserably. He's a 9-star warrior, and Yun Xiao is just a 1-star. The gap between them should be insurmountable. Even the dean was momentarily at a loss. His pupils contracted as he suddenly snapped. "Stop!" His voice echoed like a thunderclap, jolting the students. But Yun Xiao had already reached Lan Shien, placing his foot firmly on his opponent's dantian. Lan Shien, though grievously injured, was still conscious. As Yun Xiao's foot loomed over him, terror filled his heart. He realized in that moment, Yun Xiao was truly mad. He was about to defy the dean's command without hesitation. Panic surged within him as he screamed inwardly for someone to save him. Then Yun Xiao struck. A decisive kick landed on Lan Xien's dantian, releasing a burst of force. A streak of light shot through his lower back, shredding his garments. Blood sprayed from his mouth as his body convulsed before going utterly limp. His spirit, once burning with ambition, faded like a dying ember. He had fainted, his future destroyed. The crowd gasped, A broken dantian was a death sentence for a warrior's path. Unless treated with a legendary 7th-level holy medicine, Lan Shien's martial journey had come to an end. Even the Dean, with all his speed, had failed to intervene in time. He now stood frozen, staring in disbelief, feeling an unfamiliar sense of helplessness. Luo Yun inhaled sharply and rushed forward. Seeing Yunxiao approach Lan Shien once more, she cried out, "What are you doing?" The audience was bewildered. Lan Shien was already crippled. What more could Yunxiao possibly intend to do? Without hesitation, Yunxiao raised his foot and stomped down. His heel crashed into Lan Xien's mouth, shattering his teeth and tearing his lips apart. Blood gushed from his face, staining the ground. Even unconscious, Lan Xien's body twitched involuntarily from the impact. Everyone was stunned, a chill running down their spines. The Dean's expression darkened as he flew forward. "Boy, you are too cruel." Li Yunxiao smirked. "I said I'd make you lick my shoes. I haven't washed my feet for 3 days. How does it feel now?" He reached out, snatching the 5-colored divine jade pendant from Lan Xien's waist. Determined to claim it, he pocketed the pendant before kicking Lan Shien aside like discarded trash, sending him hurtling toward the Dean. The Dean didn't even glance at Lan Shien before slapping him away again. The battered young man crashed into the ground. At that moment, the Dean's fury erupted like an enraged lion. "He's already lost, why go this far?" the Dean murmured. "This was a duel of life and death," Li Yunxiao replied coldly. "Mind your own business." His words echoed throughout the martial arts arena, shocking everyone. Even the most powerful figures of the Tianshui kingdom, the emperor, the president of the Alchemist Guild, the commander of the National Guard, would not dare speak to the Dean this way. The Dean laughed angrily. "Do you even know who I am?" Li Yunxiao sneered. "The so-called Dean of the Academy. Over 100 years old and still at this level? If I were you, I'd be too ashamed to show my face." A collective gasp filled the air. He had just insulted one of the strongest men in the kingdom for having low cultivation. The Dean roared, "Die?" His oppressive aura solidified, pressing down like a mountain. Li Yunxiao staggered under the immense pressure, his body trembling as if he would be crushed. Yet he refused to kneel. He gritted his teeth, his eyes blazing. A 100-year-old man bullying a 15-year-old? A martial king suppressing a mere warrior? "If I survive today, I will make you pay 100-fold." The Dean's expression shifted. Despite the overwhelming force of a martial king, this one-star warrior stood unyielding. Even more alarming was the fighting spirit Li Yunxiao exuded, unyielding and indomitable. In the distance, Luo Yunxiang's anxiety turned to awe. His defiant gaze sent a shock through her. Why does this stubborn look feel so familiar? She wondered. Her thoughts were interrupted as sunlight reflected off the statue of the martial sovereign. Her breath caught. Guayang, his expression and demeanor, are exactly like Master Guayang's. She turned back, staring at Li Yunxiao in disbelief. The resemblance to the legendary martial sovereign was uncanny. Li Yunxiao suddenly coughed up blood but remained defiant. "Don't think I have no means to fight back just because you're a martial king. Even if I die, I'll make sure you suffer." He swallowed an origin-blasting pill. Power surged through his body like an unrelenting tide, his aura rising exponentially. The Dean hesitated. His pressure was enough to subdue even a great martial master. Yet Li Yunxiao still stood. If he continued, he would only ruin his own reputation for bullying a mere martial warrior. Just as uncertainty flickered in the Dean's mind, he sensed an inexplicable shift in the air. Li Yunxiao's eyes turned eerily calm. An unseen force rippled around him. Luo Yunxiang noticed it too. A breeze stirred the previously still air, and clouds seemed to gather out of nowhere. She gasped, "The wind is rising, and the clouds are moving. How can this be?" The Dean's eyes widened. He, too, sensed the disturbance. Murmuring to himself, he looked at the sky. The wind and clouds, they are truly rising. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead. Who was this boy? His stance, his technique, was this truly the legendary wind and cloud palm of Master Guayang? Li Yunxiao stood tall, his presence as immovable as a mountain. The wind and clouds obeyed his will. The world shifted. The storm was his to command. At the snowfall peak of Shenshao Palace, Martial Sovereign Guayang once stood atop the snowy summit. With a single move of the great wind and cloud palm, he overwhelmed 10 nine-star Martial Sovereign, effortlessly outmaneuvered the palace master of Shenshao Palace, Chu Hongnian, and roamed freely within the palace's forbidden grounds. His deeds became legendary, passed down through generations as a tale of unrivaled prowess. Meanwhile, in the martial arts arena, the air was tense. The dean suddenly shouted, "Stop!" His commanding voice cut through the tension, and his overwhelming presence faded as he studied Yun Xiao, whose aura had drastically changed after consuming an origin-blasting pill. While such pills could temporarily enhance strength, they carried severe side effects. The dean was confident that Yun Xiao posed no real threat to him, even if he could wield the great wind and cloud palm. However, Yun Xiao not only demonstrated knowledge of that technique, but also the floating life seal, both of which were linked to Yang Di. If these abilities had indeed been passed down from Yang Di, the dean would find himself in a difficult position should he harm Yun Xiao. For the first time, a flicker of apprehension crossed the dean's eyes as he recalled Yang Di's formidable power. After a moment of deliberation, he declared, "Students fight of their own accord. However, your methods were excessively ruthless. Since this is your first offense, I will let it slide, but do not repeat it." With those words, the dean disappeared from the arena, unwilling to entangle himself further in the matter. The gathered students and teachers were left in stunned silence. The dean, who showed no leniency even to princes and princesses, had let Yun Xiao off so easily. Whispers filled the air, disbelief evident on their faces. Luo Yun, recovering from her shock, narrowed her eyes thoughtfully before feigning anger. "Withdraw your power immediately," she commanded. Yun Xiao's body radiated immense heat, his skin turning crimson as the explosive energy surged within him. Gritting his teeth, he scoffed. The old man ran away too fast. He then seated himself cross-legged, pressing his palms together. The turbulent energy within him, once raging like a storm, suddenly stabilized, flowing through his body in a structured manner. His complexion returned to normal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Luo Yun's eyes sparkled with curiosity. His posture exuded a profound sense of balance and order, as if embodying an unknown martial principle. She felt an instinctive pull toward understanding it. Without hesitation, she sat cross-legged before him, studying him intently, hoping to grasp the essence of the mysterious technique. The martial arts arena erupted into discussion, astonishment evident among the onlookers. Teacher Fong intervened, maintaining order by dispersing the crowd. Soon, the arena was emptied, leaving only Yun Xiao and Luo Yun, both immersed in their meditation. As time passed, a soft glow appeared between Luo Yun's brows, radiating a tranquil yet powerful aura. Like a lotus in bloom, her presence grew more serene. The surrounding spiritual energy swirled around her, drawn into her body. From a distance, Xian Ping observed the phenomenon with wide eyes. "She's advancing? Luo Yun has broken through again," he muttered in disbelief. Luo Yun herself was equally astonished. While contemplating Yun Xiao's mysterious posture, the bottleneck in her cultivation unexpectedly dissolved. Before she realized what was happening, she had already advanced, as if the path had been carved open for her. Bewildered, she wondered about the true nature of Yun Xiao's techniques. What kind of heaven-defying martial arts was he practicing? She slowly opened her eyes, only to find Yun Xiao staring at her with an amused expression. Startled, a faint blush crossed her face. "What are you looking at?" she snapped. Yun Xiao chuckled. "Nothing. Just congratulating Teacher Luo on her advancement." Luo Yun's heartbeat slowly returned to normal, but something about Yun Xiao felt off. Her expression turned serious as she scrutinized him. "You advanced as well? You're now a 2-star martial warrior?" Yun Xiao grinned. Teacher Luo, you're in the Martial King realm. Advancing is 100 times harder for you than it is for me. If you can do it, why can't I? Luo Yunshang felt exasperated. If she spent more time with this boy, she feared her heart might give out from the constant surprises. Don't play dumb. How many days has it been since you advanced to a 1-star warrior? I was in seclusion for 5 days, and now the entire world seems to have changed. Explain yourself. Feigning weakness, Yun Xiao groaned. Oh no, my injuries are too severe. How can I withstand such interrogation? Let me rest for 10 days, no, half a month, and then I'll explain everything. Luo Yunshang hesitated, glancing at his blood-stained clothes and battered form. After a brief pause, she relented. Fine, but you only get 3 days. Come to my office then. Watching her leave, Yun Xiao smirked. She's quite domineering, but her talent is excellent. She's worth cultivating. Rather than resting, Yun Xiao made his way directly to the gravity training chamber. Though the battle had pushed him to his limits, it had also helped him break through another level. The residual effects of the origin blasting pill had now completely integrated into his body, accelerating his advancement. However, to fully stabilize his realm, he needed rigorous training. The tenfold gravity room was the perfect place for this. As he stepped inside, students immediately took notice. Many instinctively stepped back, wary of his newfound strength. None dared to challenge him for a training room, allowing him to enter the tenfold gravity zone unopposed. Nearby, Luolan exited her own training chamber just in time to see Yun Xiao pass by. She frowned, confused. Strange, he looks full of energy. Didn't Lan Shien cripple him? This doesn't seem like Lan Shien style. Before she could dwell on it, she overheard hushed conversations from gathered students. That kid's aura is terrifying. I can't even stand within 3 meters of him. Of course, he took down Lan Shien in one move. Even by Chung Feng and Lin Yu from Academy rankings wouldn't stand a chance. I just got news from the infirmary. Lan Xien's meridians are completely shattered, and his dantian is destroyed. Unless he gets a level 5 qi condensing pill, he's crippled for life. Seriously? This kid is ruthless. You think the infirmary's chief Ku would misdiagnose? Plus, he's my cousin's, uncle's neighbor's son's 7th wife's brother's friend. I'd never lie. This kid doesn't even fear the dean. We should all be careful not to provoke him. Otherwise, no one will be able to save us. Luolan's mind buzzed as she processed their words. He defeated Lan Shien in a single move. The realization struck her like lightning. The slender figure of Yun Xiao flashed through her mind. As the murmurs continued around her, she found herself questioning everything she thought she knew about him. 5 days later, within a tenfold gravity chamber, Yun Xiao's eyes snapped open, golden lightning flickering within them before vanishing. A triumphant smile played on his lips. He had successfully advanced to a 2-star martial warrior. Thinking to himself, he said, "At last, I have restored my soul power to the level of a first-tier alchemist." Without hesitation, he stepped out of the secret room and entered the teleportation array. However, as he reached his dormitory door, an unsettling premonition made him pause. Just as he turned to leave, a voice called out, "Trying to escape? Come back." The door creaked open, revealing Luo Yunshang, her expression cold with a trace of anger. "Yun Xiao, did you really think you could ignore me? 5 days have passed, and you've been nowhere to be seen." Cold sweat formed on Yun Xiao's forehead. With an awkward chuckle, he attempted an excuse. I got caught up in training and lost track of time." Luo Yunshang's eyes narrowed as she sensed his vitality's fluctuations. 2-star peak warrior? You were only promoted 5 days ago. Her expression turned serious. "Yun Xiao, you know the consequences of misusing pills. If you've been recklessly consuming elixirs with severe side effects for rapid advancement, you could harm your future potential." Luo Yunshang scrutinized him and said, "I need answers." Feigning ignorance, Yun Xiao asked, "Answers? About what?" Her piercing gaze locked onto him. She bombarded him with questions. Her barrage of questions made Yunxiao's head throb. With a forced smile, he deflected, "What does Dean Zonglischen think about it?" Luo Yunxiang scoffed. "The Dean assumes that Lord Yang Di personally taught you these heaven-defying martial and alchemy refining techniques." Yunxiao grinned. "The Dean is truly perceptive. That's exactly what happened." "Nonsense." Luo Yunxiang snapped, startling him. "Your family, though influential in the kingdom's military, has never had dealings with Lord Yang Di. Furthermore, Lord Yang Di doesn't even know the Great Wind and Cloud Palm." Feigning surprise, Yunxiao asked, "How do you know that?" Luo Yunxiang hesitated before sighing. "Forget it. Since you refuse to tell me, I won't press further. I was initially worried about you and even arranged a path forward, but it seems I was concerned for nothing. However, you're coming with me. I found a teacher for you at the Alchemist Guild. He wants to assess your soul power before deciding whether to accept you as his disciple." With that, she grabbed Yunxiao and dragged him toward the Alchemist Guild. "Who is this so-called master?" Yunxiao protested. "Can he even handle taking me as a disciple?" Luo Yunxiang glared at him. "He's one of the most promising masters in the guild. It wasn't easy to get him to agree. You'd better behave. You'll find out who he is soon enough." Upon reaching the Alchemist Guild, Yunxiao noticed Jarong instructing an apprentice surrounded by eager listeners. Luo Yunxiang, unbothered by formalities, forced the crowd to make way. "Master Jia, I've brought Yunxiao, the eldest son of the Li family, whom I mentioned earlier," she announced. Jarong barely glanced up. "Take him to the outer hall for a soul test," he instructed indifferently. Yunxiao's face contracted, thinking that she got Jarong to teach me. As Yunxiao prepared to leave, a surprised voice called out, "It's you!" Lu Yao, the receptionist, hurried over, beaming. "I've been hoping to see you again. Ever since you guided my brother, his potion success rate has reached nearly 100%. Yunxiao grinned. "Tell him he has talent. With perseverance, he will succeed." Lu Yao blushed. "I really don't know how to thank you." Her eyes filled with admiration. Yunxiao smirked. "Easy, just give me your heart." Lu Yao turned scarlet. Just as she was about to say more, Luo Yunxiang smacked Yunxiao's head. "Focus. We're not here to flirt." Luo Yunxiang said as she pulled Yunxiao by the hair. Yunxiao, in protest, said, "She approached me first." Luo Yunxiang, visibly annoyed, urged Yunxiao to follow her. "Hurry up and take the test," she said impatiently. "If you fail, you'll see how I deal with you." Their exchange quickly drew the attention of the students gathered for Jarong's lecture. Some apprentice snapped irritably, "If you two want to argue, take it outside." Realizing the disruption they had caused, Luo Yunxiang offered a brief apology. She understood how valuable this lecture was to the students. Without further hesitation, she ordered Yunxiao, "Get out now." Her sharp command drew even more attention. Jarong, who had been speaking in the corner, frowned at the disturbance and looked up coldly. "What's going on?" he demanded. The students, pulled from their concentration, turned as one to glare at the two troublemakers. Jarong, too, was displeased. He recognized Luo Yunxiang, but felt her behavior was disrespectful. Just as he was about to reprimand her, his eyes fell upon Yunxiao. The sight of the young man sent a jolt through Jarong. His mind reeled as he processed the name, Yunxiao. A sudden realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. He repeated the name in his heart, growing increasingly overwhelmed. Before he could react, an apprentice stood up confidently, eager to prove himself. "Master Jia, these two fools are causing trouble. I'll remove them immediately," he declared. Jarong, still in shock, barely registered the apprentice's words until a flicker of awareness snapped him back to reality. Without hesitation, he rushed forward and tossed the student aside. "Fool," he bellowed. "Do you have any idea what you're saying? They have traveled thousands of miles to be here, to learn. Do you think you can compare to their dedication, to their perseverance?" His outburst left the entire class in stunned silence. Jarong, trembling slightly, and greeted Yunxiao with exaggerated caution. "Young Master Yun." Luo Yunxiang, taken aback by his behavior, gave a light chuckle. Master Jia, there's no need to be so formal. Just call him Yin Xiao. Before Jarong could respond, Luo Yun delivered a sharp slap to the back of his head. Master Jia is greeting you. Why are you standing there like a fool? Show some respect. The sound of the slap echoed through the hall like a thunderclap, but it struck Jarong's heart even harder, nearly making him cough up blood. Yun Xiao reluctantly muttered, "Hello, Master Jia." Jarong, however, flinched and instinctively stepped aside. Although Yun Xiao had only greeted him, to Jarong, it felt as if he were about to bow, an action he dared not accept. Luo Yun noticed Jarong's reaction and frowned slightly. I was planning to take this boy for a soul power test. No need for a test. Jarong blurted out, frantically waving his hands. Luo Yun was taken aback. No need. She frowned again, then, with another sharp slap to Yun Xiao's head, scolded, You rude boy, you've upset Master Jia. Apologize at once. Turning back to Jarong, she offered a polite smile. Please forgive his lack of manners. He's just an ignorant child who doesn't know any better. Jarong, drenched in cold sweat, was on the verge of collapse. He slapped his own mouth in frustration and nearly knelt down in desperation. Lord Luo, please stop hitting him. I misspoke. Young Master Yun is extremely talented and doesn't need a test at all. A hush fell over the hall. Even Lu Yao and the apprentices who had been listening to Jarong's earlier explanation were left dumbfounded. Luo Yun blinked in confusion. Extremely talented? Then does that mean you'll accept him as a disciple? Jarong paled. Yes, I mean no. He panicked, realizing his mistake, and trembled under Yun Xiao's cold gaze. I misspoke again. I won't accept him. Absolutely not. Luo Yun narrowed her eyes. Master Jia, your behavior today is truly strange. Are you taking him as your disciple or not? Jarong, practically in tears, pleaded, Please, Master Luo, just stop hitting him. I'll do whatever you say. If you strike him again, I'll have no choice but to kneel before you. Luo Yun, now thoroughly bewildered, finally noticed how strangely Jarong was acting around Yin Xiao. Even a fool could tell that he was deeply afraid of the young man. She turned to Yun Xiao, about to ask a question, when a commotion broke out in the hall. An old man, surrounded by a group of people, walked in. The moment he entered, all conversation ceased, and the crowd stood respectfully, their heads slightly bowed. The old man's sharp eyes surveyed the room, before landing briefly on Luo Yun. He nodded in acknowledgement before heading straight to the second floor. Yun Xiao's gaze followed him, sensing the powerful fluctuations of soul energy radiating from the man. He was at least a third-level alchemy master, the most formidable Yun Xiao had encountered since his reincarnation. After the old man ascended to the second floor, the hall burst back into a flurry of whispers. Luo Yun's expression turned serious. Master Zhang Qingfan himself has come to the Alchemist Guild. Could it be that the princess's condition has worsened? Yun Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The princess? What's wrong with her? Luo Yun sighed. It's not a secret. She was born with the 5 absolute meridians and wasn't expected to live past the age of 5. 9 years ago, His Majesty enlisted the aid of a 5th-rank king-level alchemist who devised a prescription that extended her life by a decade. But now that time is almost up. Yun Xiao's expression darkened. The 5 absolute meridians cannot be cured with medicine alone. The only known remedy is the 8th level 5 dragon's Pure Yang pill. Luo Yun was taken aback. An 8th level pill? But only an 8th level magic master can refine such a thing. That's almost legendary. Jarong nodded grimly. An 8th level master, that's practically a god. After a moment of thought, Yun Xiao made up his mind. Teacher Luo, you should head back. I need to speak with Master Jia alone about my apprenticeship. Luo Yun hesitated but nodded. Jarong, however, broke out in a fresh sweat. Young Master Yun can be my disciple if he wants. Anything he says goes. Please, Miss Yun don't worry. Let's find a quiet place, Yun Xiao said. I need to think. Jia, Rong eagerly led him to his personal lounge. Yun Xiao paced in silence, deep in thought, while Jarong stood obediently to the side, not daring to interrupt. Suddenly, Yun Xiao said, "I have a solution. Jarong, go inform Zhang Qingfan that you can cure the princess's condition." Jarong gaped. "Young Master Yun, are you serious?" Yun Xiao's gaze turned cold. "Do I look like I'm joking? Besides the 5 dragons Guayang pill, the condition can also be treated with golden needle acupuncture. With my current soul power, I may not cure her in one session, but I can make significant progress." Jarong nearly choked. "Golden needle acupuncture? You know such legendary techniques? Are you really certain?" Yun Xiao rubbed his temples. "Didn't I just say it may take multiple sessions? That's why you must take credit for the treatment while I perform the acupuncture. Do you think I'd let you handle the needles with your crude skills?" Jarong wasn't offended. If anything, he was awed. "Then, can I watch and learn while you perform?" "Do as you like," Yun Xiao said dismissively. "Just make sure Zhang Qingfan accepts this task. If we delay, the princess will be in real danger." Jarong nodded vigorously. "I'll inform him immediately." Yun Xiao scribbled a list of required materials. "Have him prepare these as well." Jarong scanned the list and blinked in confusion. "Why are most of these weapon crafting materials?" Yun Xiao smirked. "I need a new weapon. Might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone." Jarong was left stunned silent. With his instructions given, Yun Xiao left the guild. As he wandered through the bustling market, a familiar figure suddenly caught his eye. A wave of nostalgia surged through him, bringing back a memory that made him smile. Without hesitation, he stepped closer. At a small stall, Mengwu pleaded earnestly, "Boss, I only have 170 gold coins. Please be kind and help me just this once." Junyong, an intermediate alchemy apprentice, scoffed and waved her off. "Go somewhere else. 300 gold coins is already the lowest price. Look, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I can't do business at a loss." However, his eyes gleamed with greed as he smirked. "If you agree to be my girlfriend, we can forget about the money." Mengwu's expression darkened. Without a word, she turned to leave. Junyong panicked and called after her, "Hey, don't be so hasty. 3 months. Just 3 months. That's all I ask. You do want to save your brother, don't you?" She froze mid-step, her body rigid with hesitation. Seeing her pause, Junyong grinned triumphantly and moved closer. "That's more like it. Don't misunderstand. I'm not asking you to marry me. Even if you wanted to, I wouldn't be interested. My future is with noble women, daughters of royalty. You, at best, are only fit to entertain me for a while. Agree to this, and I'll give you the resurrection magic water as a gift." Rage coursed through Mengwu, her whole body trembling. Her lips, bitten in frustration, bled slightly. Gritting her teeth, she forced out the words, "Prepare the resurrection magic water. I will raise the money and pay you back within 3 months." Junyong chuckled coldly. "Pay me back? By then, your brother won't even have the chance to use it. Without the resurrection magic water, he won't last another 3 months. Money can be earned, but a life..." He trailed off, stepping forward with an outstretched hand, his fingers reaching to touch her. "What do you say, little beauty? I can tell you're still a maiden. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be interested." A resounding slap echoed through the market. Junyong recoiled as if struck by lightning. Pain shot through his forehead, and as he hastily lifted his sleeve, he saw a palm-sized bruise swelling into a grotesque lump. Shocked and furious, he turned his gaze toward the one who had struck him. "Who are you?" Junyong spat. "How dare you hit me?" His eyes locked onto Yun Xiao, who stood there grinning, his expression unreadable. Yun Xiao's smile widened as he said, his voice laced with amusement. "Who am I? The real question is, who are you, boy? How dare you touch my girl?" As Mengwu saw Yun Xiao, a whirlwind of emotions surged within her. Memories of that fateful night flashed through her mind, bringing shame and anger to the surface. Liang Jun, momentarily stunned, scoffed. "Your girlfriend? That depends on whether she admits it or not. Do you even know who I am? He pointed to his bruised arm and sneered. Boy, you've got yourself into big trouble. Yunxiao chuckled. Oh, and who exactly are you? Never heard of you. Liang Jun's expression darkened. I'm an intermediate alchemy apprentice of the Alchemist Guild and a disciple of Master Jarong, a first-level alchemist. My sworn brother is Longhow, the eldest son of Lord Longqing, commander of the City Defense Guard. If you know what's good for you, kneel, apologize, and hand over a few hundred gold coins for medical expenses, and we'll forget this ever happened. Yunxiao smirked. Jarong? I know him. Longqing? Sure. But Longhow? Never heard of him. He tossed a storage bag onto the ground. I have a few hundred gold coins here. If you have the guts, take them. Liang Jun's face lit up with greed as he reached for the bag. But just as his fingers neared it, an icy chill shot down his spine. A deep, primal fear gripped him as he met Yunxiao's gaze, cold, detached, and deadly. His hand froze midair, and cold sweat drenched his back. He knew, if he touched the bag, he wouldn't leave this place alive. Mengwu watched in stunned silence, affected by Yunxiao's powerful aura. She had once plotted against him under Lon Fay's scheme, hoping to extort money, but it had all backfired. That night's events had haunted her, filling her with both resentment and an unshakable memory of the man who had single-handedly dominated the martial arts field. Heroes left imprints on young hearts, and she had unknowingly been caught in his shadow. A sudden voice shattered her thoughts. Brother Hao. Liang Jun, desperate, ran toward a man in armor. Longhow, whispering frantically. Longhow arrived with a group of soldiers, his gaze icy. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. You have two choices. One, kneel, apologize to my brother, leave the girl and the money and walk away. Two, refuse, and spend the rest of your life crippled in a prison cell. You have 3 breaths to decide. Liang Jun smirked, regaining his arrogance. I told you, my sworn brother is Longhow. You'd better open your eyes when walking through the capital. He strode toward the money bag, bent down, bang. Before he could react, Yunxiao moved. Liang Jun flew through the air like a broken kite and crashed hard into Longhow's group. Soldiers scattered as he landed with a sickening thud, blood trickling down his face. Trembling, he gasped, Brother, my dantian, it's shattered. I'm finished. Longhow's face twisted in disbelief. You dare harm my brother? He signaled his men, who drew their weapons, poised to strike. But before they could advance, Longhow lunged at Yunxiao with his sword. Yet, when he slashed down, a strange, muffled sound echoed. His sword was caught between Yunxiao's 2 fingers. Gasps rippled through the crowd. 2 fingers stopped the sword, someone whispered in shock. Yunxiao, unfazed, lightly pinched the blade as if admiring a flower. That's all, he mocked. Longhow's confidence wavered. Realizing he had underestimated his opponent, he roared, Sword, unseal. A dull resonance hummed as the sword's energy surged, its aura intensifying. Cold air spread from its blade as its dormant spirit awakened. Mengwu gasped, Shen weapon. Shen weapons contained immense power, refined only by master alchemists. They were rare and priceless. Longhow smirked, stroking his sword. This blade is made from deep-sea cold iron, crafted by Master Liang Wenyu himself. You're the 3rd person to see its unsealed form. Consider yourself honored to die by it. He brandished the sword, its chilling aura cutting through the air. With a deadly gleam, he slashed toward Yunxiao. Yunxiao sneered. A mere first-level Shen weapon? Trash. With a swift movement, he dodged, effortlessly, flicking his fingers against the blade. A crisp ding echoed, sending a vibration through the weapon. His form blurred into afterimages as he flitted around Longhow's strikes. Each flick of his fingers sent shockwaves through the sword, causing an eerie, buzzing sound. Longhow's eyes widened in horror. His treasured sword trembled as though mourning its fate. Suddenly, the sword's glow dimmed. The unsealing energy vanished, and it returned to an ordinary blade. No matter how much energy Longhow poured into it, it refused to react. What's happening? Longhao's voice cracked with panic. His most prized weapon, rendered useless. Yunxiao crossed his arms. That's all you've got, he taunted. Driven by madness, Longhow roared, "Kill him! Kill him now!" He and his men charged, weapons raised, ready to strike. Xiao smirked, and without hesitation, he became a blur of afterimages, charging directly into the ranks of soldiers. The soldiers barely had time to react before being struck by an onslaught of punches. Their armor shattered upon impact, and an explosive force sent them flying. Meng Wu stood frozen, her eyes wide with shock. To her, Li Yunxiao seemed less like a warrior and more like a butterfly gliding effortlessly through a field of flowers. A faint aura of energy shimmered around him, casting a soft fluorescence as he moved. Despite the chaos, not a single speck of dust landed on his robes. This looks more like a dance than a battle, she muttered in disbelief. As the last of the soldiers fell, writhing in pain, Li Yunxiao turned his attention to Longhow. Without hesitation, he snatched the sword from his hands. A sickening crack echoed as Longhow's arm was twisted and broken, rendering him powerless. Li Yunxiao examined the weapon with a hint of disappointment. This sword is mediocre at best, but it's still worth a few coins. I'll take it. Now, do you have anything else of value to offer me, dear friend? His voice dripped with mockery as he kicked Longhow's leg. Another bone snapped audibly, forcing Longhow to his knees. Face contorted in pain and resentment, Longhow hissed through gritted teeth. My father is the commander of the Imperial Guards. If you dare to strike me and steal from me, I'll bring my men and wipe out your entire family. Li Yunxiao's eyes turned cold, his aura darkening. But then, unexpectedly, he smiled. Oh, I'd love for you to bring your men to my house. Let's see if you can carry out that threat. Before Longhow could respond, a voice rang out from the distance. Who dares to cause trouble here? Longhow's eyes lit up as he spotted a lifeline. Lord Divine Guard, I am Longhow, captain of the 3rd Battalion of the Imperial City Guard. This man is attacking the Imperial Guard. Please assist me, my lord. 2 men on horseback approached along the narrow street. The gathered spectators hurriedly stepped aside, fearful of obstructing their path. A golden badge gleamed on their left shoulders, emblazoned with the image of a long sword and shield, the unmistakable insignia of the kingdom's most elite force, the Imperial Guards. One of the riders, Hui Ming, scanned the scene with a deep frown. Who dares act so brazenly? Drop your weapon and surrender. His commanding presence radiated a powerful aura. He studied Li Yunxiao carefully, noting his striking appearance and measuring his strength. A mere 2-star martial warrior, Hui Ming thought, yet Longhow, a 3-star martial warrior, had been completely defeated, even with his subordinates. How was that possible? Remaining seated on his horse, Hui Ming's voice remained calm, yet laced with an underlying threat. You have 2 choices, surrender willingly or force me to act. If I do, you'll regret it. Li Yunxiao scoffed, his expression filled with contempt. You don't even bother to ask what happened? You don't care about right or wrong. You assume I'm at fault? Hui Ming sneered. The Imperial Guards serve His Majesty. We do not wrongfully accuse anyone. If you resist, then you must be guilty. Without further delay, he leaped into the air, his body soaring like a great rock, taking flight. His right hand formed a blade, slashing down towards Li Yunxiao with incredible speed. Though outwardly unimpressed, Li Yunxiao's vigilance soared to its peak. His opponent was a 2-star martial master, an entire tier above him. The gap was significant, yet not insurmountable. With a sharp humph, he raised the sword and swung. A arc of energy erupted from the blade, illuminating the surroundings. Hui Ming's eyes widened in shock. A 2-star martial warrior shouldn't be able to unleash such sword energy. This is a Shen weapon. Recognizing the weapon's true nature, he quickly retracted his attack, switching to a defensive stance. Instead of meeting the blade directly, he pushed out with both fists, summoning a surge of energy to counter the strike. A violent clash of power erupted. Li Yunxiao absorbed the force through his blade, his stance unwavering. Hui Ming, however, was pushed back 10 meters before regaining his footing. Surprise flickered in his eyes. So that's how you dared to be so arrogant. You rely on your Shen weapon. But today you've met your match. Your rampage ends here. Li Yunxiao smirked, unwilling to let his opponent dictate the battle. Without hesitation, he struck again, light flashing through the air. Infuriated by his audacity, Huiming drew a bronze sword and countered. Their blades collided with a blinding burst of energy. The sheer force of the impact sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Li Yunxiao wasted no time. He weaved through the battlefield, his footwork swift and precise. Suddenly, his right leg shot forward in a diagonal arc, engulfed in flames. Shifting Devil's Wind kick. Caught off guard, Huiming got a direct hit. As he stumbled back, realization struck he was being systematically overwhelmed. Sensing an opportunity, Li Yunxiao's aura surged. His sword began to hum, absorbing the energy around it. His next strike would be decisive. Raising his blade high, he prepared for the final blow. Sensing danger, the guard's brother, Hue Guang, leaped behind Yunxiao to attack from behind. As the attack was about to reach Yunxiao, he vanished, shocking the guard. Yunxiao appeared above both guards, shouting, "Fool, I was only luring you." He attacked with full force. Moon-breaking sky slash. Hue Guang's mind reeled in disbelief. Had the enemy truly lured him down to attack both of them at once? A two-star martial warrior, upon seeing them, should have done everything possible to flee. Yet this one sought to kill them both? The notion was laughable, absurd even. But just as the thought crossed his mind, a chilling sense of imminent death gripped him. A golden light split the sky, illuminating everything in its wake. Hue Guang's confidence wavered, and he shouted, "The mind is connected, two become one." He and his brother Hui Ming had trained in a rare joint attack technique, one that required complete synchronization of mind and body. It was an art best suited for blood relatives, and they had spent years practicing this technique. In the face of lethal danger, their instincts took over. Their figures blurred into one, their movements perfectly synchronized as they unleashed a devastating counterattack, channeling an immense force to meet the incoming blade. Yunxiao's eyes narrowed. His plan had been precise, but he had not anticipated their ability to merge their strength in such a manner. He knew he was going to lose. The impact was deafening. The force of the collision sent Yunxiao hurtling backward, his body battered and blood spraying into the air before he crashed into a street corner. Silence fell over the battlefield. Mengwu had watched everything, her heart pounding. Yunxiao had forced the two elite guards to fight seriously, a feat she had never expected. But more than that, in the split second before he was flung away, she could have sworn he turned and smiled at her. Though no words were spoken, a message echoed in her mind, "Run." The urgency in that silent command jolted her from her shock. She hesitated only for a moment before determination flooded her veins. Without another thought, she turned and sprinted toward the academy. Longhow, still recovering from the chaos, spotted her movement. His face paled. "The girl is escaping. Catch her," he bellowed. Yet no one responded. His soldiers lay groaning on the ground, too wounded to act, while Hue Guang and Hui Ming stood apart, lost in their own thoughts. Frustration twisted his features, but he knew better than to command the two warriors. Hue Guang gazed at Yunxiao's bloodied form, emotions churning within him. This boy, this mere two-star martial warrior, had forced them into a joint attack, something unheard of. Even now it felt surreal. His eyes fell upon the fallen sword. With a flick of his fingers, the weapon flew into his grasp. Though damaged, it remained intact, its craftsmanship evident. Longhow, noticing this, rushed over, sweat beading on his forehead. "Sir, that sword." Hue Guang's gaze hardened. Without allowing Longhow to finish, he placed the sword into his storage ring. "Captain Long, we have captured your prisoner. Our work here is done." His words left no room for argument. He and Hui Ming mounted their horses, preparing to leave. Longhow panicked. He had spent a fortune acquiring that sword, using every connection to have Master Liang when you craft it. My lords, please that. Farewell, Captain Long. No need to see us off. Hui Guang cut him off sharply before urging his horse forward. Longhow could only watch in despair as they disappeared into the distance. Rage surged within him as he turned on his men, kicking at their battered bodies. Get up, you useless fools. Take that brat back. Losing the sword was bad enough. I want him to regret ever being born. Mengwu ran blindly, her breath ragged, her heart hammering in her chest. Save him. I must find someone to save him. Yun Xiao's bloodied figure haunted her mind, each memory cutting through her like a blade. She pushed forward, refusing to stop. After a time, her pace slowed as confusion crept in. She had no idea where she was. Then, up ahead, she spotted a large estate with guards stationed at the entrance. Her pulse quickened. The Li mansion. Relief washed over her. Yun Xiao was the eldest grandson of the Li family. She had found his home. He would be saved. Inside the mansion, a man in lavish robes admired a sword in the courtyard. He traced his fingers along the blade, murmuring, "A second-level Shien weapon. Even when sealed, its power is immense. What would it be like unsealed?" His musings were interrupted by the hurried footsteps of a servant. The servant bowed hastily. "Master Yi, there is a woman outside. She claims Master Yun Xiao has been captured by the Imperial guards and requests immediate help." The sword hummed as it slid back into its sheath, and the courtyard seemed to dim. Li Yi's expression barely shifted, only mild curiosity flickering in his eyes. That failure? Isn't he always loitering around the academy? What trouble has he found himself in now? "I do not know, sir," the servant replied meekly. Li Yi scoffed. "A disgrace. If he's been caught, then so be it. It's of no concern. Tell the woman that the master is aware of the situation and she needn't worry." "Yes, sir," the servant said without hesitation before turning away. The dismissal did not weigh on him in the slightest. He neither questioned nor pitied Yun Xiao's predicament. To him, it was simply another command to be carried out. Outside, Mengwu paced anxiously, her mind racing. When the servant returned, she was quick to ask, "When will they send help?" The servant merely pointed at the sky. "That is for the higher-ups to decide." The master said not to worry. Mengwu exhaled slowly. Yun Xiao's grandfather was one of the most powerful figures in the kingdom. If he had been informed, then surely Yun Xiao would be fine. And yet, a heavy unease settled over her. She turned, her steps leading her toward the academy, but the weight in her chest did not ease. When Yun Xiao regained consciousness, he found himself in a dark, damp prison cell. A dull ache coursed through his body, and a quick assessment told him his meridians had been severed. He could not summon his strength. He took a steadying breath, forcing himself to remain calm. Then he noticed the others. More than a dozen pairs of shadowed eyes stared at him from the darkness. Yun Xiao jolted awake, his breath ragged and his mind disoriented. His lifeless, desperate eyes darted around the dimly lit space, sending a chill through anyone who met his gaze. "Where is this?" A hoarse chuckle echoed from the darkness. "Boy, you're awake?" A thin old man with a frail frame stepped closer. "Heh, this is the Long family's dungeon. You must be quite bold. I heard from the guards that you broke the limbs of the Long family's young master." Yun Xiao frowned, his thoughts gradually clearing. The Long family's dungeon? Not the capital prison. The old man scoffed. "Capital prison? That's for criminals of the court. Who do you think you are? This is the Long family's private prison." Yun Xiao's expression darkened. A private prison? How audacious of the Long family to operate such a place. "Once I get out, I'll report this." The old man burst into laughter, coughing midway. "Get out? Report them?" His laughter faded into a wheezing sigh. "You're quite amusing. Do you know how long I've been here? When I was your age, I was arrested just for spitting near the Long family's gate. That was decades ago." The old man pointed to another prisoner, a middle-aged man hunched against the wall. "You see him? When he was 8, he came to the city with his father to sell vegetables. He accidentally stared at a long family made for too long and was thrown in here. He's 48 now. Yun Xiao shuddered. 40 years. That maid must be an old woman by now. He clenched his fists. Don't worry. I'll get out, and when I do, I'll make sure everyone here is freed. The old man only shook his head. Dreaming won't help you, boy. Just accept your fate. At least they feed us, even if the food is moldy. Despair had long since drained the will to fight from these prisoners. Yun Xiao, however, remained undeterred. He lowered himself to the ground, forming a circular posture with his right palm braced against the floor, his left hand bent, and his right foot raised. Closing his eyes, he focused his energy inward, activating the elegant lady style from the tyrant body refining technique. Though his main meridian was shattered, he pushed himself through the excruciating process, his entire body trembling violently. At first, the other prisoners scoffed at his odd posture. But as the moments passed, silence fell over the dungeon. Yun Xiao gritted his teeth as a faint trace of energy seeped from his dantian, flowing in an unconventional pattern through his body. Slowly, the torn meridians began mending. The tyrant body refining technique was among the most formidable physical cultivation methods. Even with a broken dantian, it allowed the body to strengthen, capable of reaching the nine heavens emperor realm. A unique aura radiated from Yun Xiao as his condition steadily improved. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, turmoil unfolded at the academy. Jarong had rushed to inform Zhang Qingfan and Su Han of Yun Xiao's potential ability to save Princess Ruxue. Initially skeptical, the two esteemed alchemists hesitated but eventually agreed. The required materials were hastily gathered from the national treasury, yet just as the crucial moment arrived, disaster struck. Yun Xiao had vanished. Jarong's face drained of color. Lord Luo, this isn't a joke. Yun Xiao is really missing? Luo Yunshang nodded grimly. Yes, I've searched the academy and questioned those close to him. No one has seen him. Master Jia, we need another assistant. The princess condition is worsening. Su Han's voice was grave. The medicine is losing effectiveness. We've tripled the dosage daily, yet the illness continues to advance. If we delay any longer the princess, Zhang Qingfan's face hardened. We don't have time to wait. If an assistant is all we need, I'll do it myself. How could a mere playboy possibly know acupuncture? Jarong collapsed to his knees, sweat pouring from his body. The chief palace alchemist himself had offered to be his assistant, but now Yun Xiao was gone. He stammered, finally revealing the full truth behind his claims. A heavy silence followed. Then, with a sudden burst of rage, Zhang Qingfan said, Jarong, you dared to gamble with the princess' life? Su Han's expression was equally furious. You let yourself be fooled by a playboy's nonsense? A teenager claiming to know golden needle acupuncture? You. He clenched his fists. I have never been this furious in my life. Zhang Qingfan turned, his voice thundering. Throw him into the sky. Prison. Have him beheaded at dawn. Jia, Rong's vision darkened. He barely managed a plea before Zhang Qingfan kicked him square in the chest, sending him sprawling, coughing up blood. Do you realize what you've done? If not for your claims, we would have sought help from the high-tier alchemist guild members long ago. Now the princess is beyond saving. Tell me, do you deserve to live? Jarong gasped, unable to form words through the pain. Just as Zhang Qingfan was about to storm out, Luo Yunshang interjected. Wait. Zhang Qingfan scowled. What now? This is your student, isn't it? When I report to His Majesty, you'll bear the consequences as well. Luo Yunshang's expression was unreadable. I was promoted to magic refiner recently because of Yun Xiao's indirect guidance. Zhang Qingfan scoffed. So, inspiration happens by accident. That doesn't mean the boy knows anything about acupuncture. She continued, her tone serious. During the student competition, Yun Xiao defeated Lan Shien with a single move. Su Han furrowed his brows. Isn't he rumored to have blocked meridians? And wasn't Lan Shien the strongest student at the academy? Luo Yun nodded. Yes, not only are his meridians fully open now, but the technique he used to defeat Lan Shien was the floating life seal. Both alchemists froze. Zhang Qingfan's expression darkened. The floating life seal? Could he be Lord Yang Di's disciple? Luo Yunshang shook her head. I don't know, but if he is, then it's entirely possible he knows golden needle acupuncture. Su Han turned thoughtful. Liang, when you once examined the boy, and confirmed his meridians were shattered beyond repair. Yet now he not only fights, but uses the floating life seal. Zhang Qingfan's anger faded, replaced by cold determination. Mobilize every available resource. Find Li Yunxiao immediately, even if we have to turn the entire city upside down. The scene shifts to a bar near the academy, where Luolan sat quietly, savoring a drink. Senior Yu excitedly chattered sitting beside her. Luolan, everyone at the academy is talking about that fight. If you had seen it, you wouldn't believe it either. Not even Lin Yu and Bai Chengfeng, the two strongest students of the academy, would stand a chance against his single move. With a sharp sound, Luolan said, Senior Yu, I've told you before, I don't want to hear any of this. And from now on, stop bothering me. I'm at a bottleneck in my cultivation, and will be in seclusion for a while. Goodbye. Without another glance at him, she walked out, leaving Senior Yu stunned. His surprise quickly morphed into rage. He downed the rest of his liquor and cursed under his breath. Who does she think she is? Acting all high and mighty when she's already been with Lin Yu countless times? And after all this time, she hasn't even given me the slightest chance. Damn it. As he stewed in his frustration, a pleasant voice interrupted. Sir, would you like to try Purple Love Story? Meng Wu, a young woman working at the bar, approached with a polite smile, gesturing toward his empty cup. Perhaps you'll enjoy its taste. Senior Yu glanced at her and paused. A flicker of recognition crossed his face. Wait a second. Haven't we met? You're in the junior class, right? I always remember the pretty ones. Your name's Meng Wu. He leaned back, grinning. I'm Yu Hezheng. You can call me Senior Yu. But tell me, why are you here selling drinks? Such a waste of beauty. His eyes roamed her face, and he swallowed loudly. Meng Wu's expression tightened for a brief moment before she forced a smile. Senior Yu, would you like to buy a drink? Love story. Only 6 silver coins a cup. Senior Yu smirked, playing with his empty glass. Love story? 6 silver coins? What a joke. Meng Wu, you're too beautiful for this. Forget selling drinks. Be my girlfriend, and I'll give you 100 gold coins a month. How about it? As he spoke, he reached out to touch her face. A loud slap rang through the air as Meng Wu smacked his hand away, her expression icy. Senior Yu, please have some self-respect. She turned sharply, intending to leave. Senior Yu, still fuming from Luolan's rejection, exploded in anger. How dare a wine girl reject me too? At that moment, 2 men strode into the bar. Let's grab a drink, one of them muttered. We've been searching for so long, and there's still no news. Where the hell did young Master Yin disappear to? Han and Chen took in the tense atmosphere. Han frowned. Why is it so quiet? Isn't this supposed to be a bar? Did we come to the wrong place? Chen's gaze landed on Senior Yu and Meng Wu. His eyes widened. Hey, isn't that Luolan's little follower? And, wait a minute, isn't that the girl who framed young Master Yin? Senior Yu, caught off guard, scowled. Who the hell are you two? I don't know you, he sneered. I'll give you until the count of 3 to get lost. Han chuckled. Big words. You might not know us, but I bet you know young Master Yin. Do you have a death wish? Senior Yu stiffened. His bravado faltered as he realized who he was dealing with. He had once scoffed at Li Yunxiao, but after recent events, he no longer had the confidence to do so. Chun slammed the table. Just because we've ignored you until now doesn't mean we always will. This isn't the academy. You really think we won't drag you outside and deal with you? Senior Yu's expression darkened. He knew these two were connected to powerful military families, and outside the academy, they could act without consequence. Gritting his teeth, he feigned indifference. I don't have time for your nonsense. I don't even know this girl. Stop trying to pin things on me. With an air of forced arrogance, he turned and strode out of the bar. If more of our people were around, that coward would have been begging on his knees, Han scoffed. Chen waved dismissively. Forget him. I'm more worried about young Master Yun. The Alchemist Guild and the Guardians of a Nation are all searching, yet no trace of him has been found. Chen frowned. It's unsettling. He's changed so much recently, I can hardly recognize him. Meng Wu, who had been standing quietly, hesitated before speaking. The young Master Yun you're talking about, is he Li Yun Xiao? Chen's eyes flared. Of course, the same young Master Yun you helped frame. Did you frame him again? Meng Wu paled. How can that be? It's been 3 days. Hasn't the Li family rescued him yet? Han and Chen exchanged a sharp glance. Han seized her wrist. What did you just say? What do you know? Meng Wu, flustered, hesitated before spilling everything she knew. As her words sank in, both men stiffened in alarm. Chen slammed his fist on the table. Why the hell didn't you tell us this sooner? I reported it to the Li family. Meng Wu cried. The master of Li family assured me. Han's face darkened. Did you speak to Duke Jinghua himself? Meng Wu shook her head. No, only the servants. Damn it. Chen cursed. No wonder nothing has been done. We need to act now. Han stopped him. Wait, we must inform Master Zhang and Teacher Luo. With their authority, even the Imperial guards will have to back down. Chen's eyes lit up. Yes, I'll go immediately. Han cast Meng Wu a stern look. You're involved in this mess. You're coming with me. Meanwhile, in the Long family estate, 14-year-old Long Ran practiced his subduing tiger fist, his movements precise and fierce. His father, Long Qing, entered, watching him with approval. Good, Ran. You're far more diligent than your useless brother. You'll be great one day. Long Ran smiled modestly. Brother is already a 3-star martial warrior. I still have a long way to go. But father, you look troubled. What's wrong? Long Qing sighed. The whole capital is searching for a young man, but after 3 days, there's still no sign of him. As commander of the Imperial Guard, I'm under pressure. Long Ran's curiosity piqued. Who is he? The eldest grandson of Duke Jinghua. Long Qing muttered. Anyway, where did your brother run off to this time? His son spoke casually. He went to the prison. Brother captured a young man 3 days ago who injured his arm. The moment his arms healed, he went to find that person in the prison. Brother said he was going to make that guy regret coming into this world. Long Qing frowned, loafing around all the time. How could he have gotten his arms injured? He is a city guard captain. What a disgrace. Long Ran thinking something said, Brother locked that guy up 3 days ago, too. He also seemed pretty young. Could he be the guy you are looking for? Long Qing's face turned pale. What was his name? Long Ran replied, I heard Brother Hao calling him Yun something. Long Qing took a breath of relief and said, You gave me the fright for my life. If his surname is Yun, everything is fine. I was frightened for nothing. Before he can even enjoy his relief fully, Long Ran with a smile said, Oh, I remember. He is called Li Yun Xiao. The moment those words left his mouth, Long Qing's face went pale. A chill ran down his spine as the realization struck him. His relief vanished in an instant, replaced by a deep, gut-wrenching fear. And that wraps up today's recap. For another such treat, subscribe to the channel so that I can bring more such content to you, and you don't miss the daily uploads. Do it. Subscribe. Please subscribe, and don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. See you with another such treat.